Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great afternoon. Starting us off this afternoon on stage, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome the finest band out of Nairobi. None other than, put your hands together for Manabi! Kuna watu wako na beef. All right.
Good afternoon. Hope you guys are enjoying the day. My name is Msafiri. Yeah, who loves some reggae music? Yeah, so we're gonna be playing some reggae music in accordance with the theme of the day. Yeah, enjoy. Until we find a way to move, yeah. Our love for each other will have to improve. And if a root rock reggae band can move, yeah, yeah, you better get warning, no time to lose. Until we find a way to move, yeah, yeah. Our love for each other will have to improve. And if a root rock reggae band can move, yeah, yeah, you better get warning, no time to lose. Oh yeah. Now watch the Middle East, it comes from there, it starts from there. This year third world slaughter, headed for the West Frontier, yeah. Now watch the Middle East, it starts from there. This year third world slaughter, headed for the West Frontier. Oh yeah. Now watch the Middle East, it starts from there, This year third world slaughter, headed for the West Frontier, yeah. Now watch the Middle East, it starts from there, This year third world slaughter, headed for the West Frontier. I heard them say, Mama, take this glass up for me. I can't use them anymore. From the top, Rasta, from the top. heard them say, Mama, take these guns up for me. I can't shoot them anymore. It's getting dark, too dark to see. I feel I'm knocking on heaven's door. I heard them say, Mama, take these guns up for me. I can't use them anymore. It's getting dark, too dark to see. I feel I'm knocking on heaven's door. We're knocking, knocking on the heaven's door. We're knocking on the lion's door. Help me sing, help me sing. Knocking, we're knocking on heaven's door. We're knocking on the lion's door. Mama, take this guns up for me, 'cause I can't use them anymore. You see the long black cloud is coming down. The fields I'm knocking on heaven's door. Mama, take these guns up for me. I can't shoot them anymore. You see the long black cloud is coming down. I feel I'm knocking on heaven's door. We're knocking on the heaven's door. We're knocking on the lion's door. We're knocking on the heaven's door. We knocking on the lion's door. Everything's gonna be alright. Nobody don't go on. Everything's gonna be just fine. But don't go on. Everything's gonna be just fine. Everything's gonna be alright. Knocking on the heaven's door. We're knocking on the lion's door. We knocking on the heaven's door. We're knocking on the heaven's door.
All right, a round of applause, a round of applause, a round of applause. Don't walk away on me, brother. Just take it down, Some backline tune, pole too. Yeah. Come, brother. Yes. We want to do a very short conversation here, brother. Manabi? Slow. All right, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You know, there's one thing in reggae music. There's that ignition, you know?
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen here, and those following us online would like to know more about Manabi, the band. So, the first question for you is, when was this band started?
Right. This band was started in 2016.
Wow.
Yeah, 2016. I've been playing for how many years now? 5? Yeah, 5.
Yeah, and now listening to your first song, this second song, I feel it's all about redemption, you know, awakening the emotions, you know, telling people to stand, rise. What is the motivation behind this?
Okay, the first 2 songs we did are not our songs, but there are some artists who really inspire us. We decided to cover them tonight, but maybe if we get time, we're gonna do one more song. Now a song in the same respect. We are motivated by the struggle, the real life struggle. The way our panelists said, life go street. Yeah, tunakuanga hapo hivyo kwa hiyo street, tunaonanga vijana wakimado, tunaonanga magava wakihanda wasie, tunaonanga chakula ikikosa juu ya hizi COVID measures na vitu kama hizo. So we just want to stand up for what is right, yeah? That's the motivation behind our music.
All right. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. So, a very quick one. What does democracy mean to you?
Democracy. Right. Equality. Equity or equality. I'm not so sure the difference between the 2 words. But yeah, a space for everyone. An opportunity to be who you want to be. That's democracy to me, yeah? An opportunity to do what you really want to do. For example, if it's music, you can air out your views without feeling limited or coerced to, say, move in a specific direction. Yeah, so no coercion. That is democracy to me. Freedom in basic.
And now, as an artist, you know, playing live music, do you think you have that space you just described?
Yeah, ish, kinda. I'm not so sure because in Kenya, we tend to be on the line. We tend to be on the fence. Yeah, as artists, I just say it as it is. I want to pay my bills. Yeah, so sometimes I'll be forced to sell out. Yeah, but usually we want to put it in black and white, but the media doesn't allow black and white. You know, the restrictions still operate. If you call out a powerful person, you risk either your life or your job or your family. You know, that's it, bro. That's it.
Oh, now, do you believe your kind of music inspires young people? Do you believe
for real.
you're impacting change?
Yes. There's a song. It's called Nafsi Huru. I'd love to do it maybe later. If there's time, Nafsi Huru. It speaks about this person that just wants to be free, wants to be a free soul. And then we did that song at some concert back in 2019, and the audience went wild. So it inspires. I've met people in the street and they're like, yo, bro, that song spoke to me. So I think we inspire people.
Last but not least, is there hope for Kenya?
There is hope. Maybe not really for a generation or the next, but there is hope. Rome wasn't built on one day or one single night or something, but it's progress. It's the things we do on a daily. It's these songs that we're singing. It's these forums that we're setting up. It's this one comment online and another one that sparks change. Africa is a ticking time bomb. In good time, we'll be there. But for now, we just keep on fighting.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. Just wait here. Just about now, ladies and gentlemen, before we bring on stage our first panel, I request that we all rise. Man, don't go. We want to do that song, redemption song, you know, with everyone in this house. It's afternoon. Kuna watu wamekula kule, wameanza kusinzia. Ladies and gentlemen, I request we all stand on our feet. We're going to do this. Bua, bua, boom. Yeah, together. Manabi. Yeah, Manabi. You want to do one. All right. We're going to sing and dance together. Tell your neighbor, it's a wonderful afternoon. Not me, tell your neighbor, bro. Tell your neighbor it's a wonderful afternoon. Yeah, you're gonna like it. All right. Manabi on stage. We go. Boom.
All pirates, yes, they robbed I. Stole life from the bottomless shit. Oh, I missed it. One more time, sorry. From the top.
Are you feeling irate?
All pirates, yes, they robbed I. Sold I to the Martian ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. But my hand was made strong by the hands of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you let me sing these songs of freedom? It's all I ever heard.
Put your hands up, man. Put your hands out there. All right.
Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None put yourselves to free your mind. I have no fee for atomic energy, cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside
and look?
Some say it's just a part of it. We got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom?
That's
all I ever heard.
We sing together.
Redemption song. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. Man, put yourselves to free your mind. I have no fee for atomic energy, cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside
and look?
Some say it's just a part of it. We got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom?
Yeah, do some talking.
I ever heard. Redemption song. Redemption song. These songs of freedom.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. That was Manabi. Are you feeling irate? Comrades power. Comrades power. Comrades. Comrades. Tell your neighbor I love you. Wewe mbona umwambii bana? Wacha beef. Hata kama umerusha mistari akakataa, my friend, mwambie tu I love you. Like a sister. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful afternoon, of course. Wale ambao walikuwa wavivu wa kula, chakula imeevaporate. Kwa wale ambao wamekula kama mimi, God is seeing you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great afternoon. We're gonna do it in style. It's day 3, the first panel talking about impact of COVID on democracy. It was a very fascinating session in the morning. And now, this afternoon session, oh my, tell your neighbor, oh my, oh my, oh my. All right, just to remind us, it's Democracy Week. Of course, we are discussing on democracy. How do we defend democracy? Hashtag democracy. Hashtag defending democracy. Hashtag. We are live on Facebook page, Forum Civ, YouTube, Forum Civ, tuko live Twitter. Tafadhali hashtag pale, sukuma unavyoeza. We're gonna do this in style. We are here paka asubuhi, lakini hatukeshi. Meaning mambo ni moto. Looking behind me, ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing a beautiful piece of art here. Gender equality here, a male and a female. They're doing some graffiti. Let us clap for them, a round of applause. Sooner or later, we are going to have a conversation with them. Yeah, haijachorwa nje kaletwa hapa, wameanza kuchora hapa. So you have an opportunity to take very beautiful photos, post online, write a hashtag, tuendelee na conversation. You're going to have some time to engage these youngsters on why they're doing it and why the kind of art, what has inspired them. Just in some 2 or 1 hour. Tutakuwa tunaongea nao. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce the next panel session this afternoon. It's going to be Fire Moto. We are in day 3. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the next panel, we are going to discuss about the role of media in shaping democracy. The role of media in shaping democracy. Jukumu la vyombo vya habari katika kuunda, kusongeza, kutengeneza demokrasia katika taifa la Kenya. Kiswahili kimefika kijafika? Kimefika? Tumeelewa sio? Kwa hivyo ndugu wapenzi, tumpigie makofi nikaribisha moderator au kiongozi wa mashtaka katika koti hii mchana wa leo. Is none other, ladies and gentlemen, one of the best media personnel, is an activist, is a public speaker, is a writer, is a researcher. Oh my. And he's also, Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Danish Odongo. Bado makofi ipigwe jamani. Bado. This guy is now an expert in mental health. He has a story to tell. Danish Odongo, please. Take it away.
Napenda kuchocha sana. Round of applause to MC Songora 001. Makofi kwake tafadhalini for a brilliant job they're doing. Comrades power. Comrades power. Bit more of energy, man. Can I see your fist in the air? Comrades power. Comrades power. Comrades energy. It's always a pleasure coming here every year. For the last 3 years, I've actually had the privilege of moderating a session here. And I love the growth that is here. And today's session actually, now, is something that's very close to my heart. I believe that the fourth arm of government, that is the media, is very crucial in sustaining democracy. And who else can help me make up this conversation better than the Secretary General of Kenya Union of Journalists? Put your hands together for Brother Eric Oduor as he joins me on the panel. Makofi ya Eric tafadhalini. We call him SG in the sector. They're all my seniors, but it's always a pleasure working out with them. And by the way, let me tell you guys that the next panelist I'm inviting on stage is somebody who actually dropped her work to come and join us here today. It's such a privilege and honor. Put your hands together for Koki Robbie, who's a senior lecturer at USIU. We actually reached out to her today, and she was able to join us because we were supposed to be joined by another colleague called Jude Kaberia. She wasn't able to join. Makofi kwake tafadhalini. And last but not least, put your hands together to one of our sister, one of our comrade. You all love her. Put your hands together to Rachel Mwikali as she joins us. Makofi ya Rachel Mwikali tafadhali, all the way from Madare, for the amazing work she's doing. And they'll all help us make sense of this conversation. Finally, we'll be joined by Nzau Musau. He's a journalist at the Standard. I don't know whether he's here yet. I don't think so. When he joins us, then we'll make sense of all these things. Asanteni sana. Now, before we start, I don't know whether we have microphones huku chini. Do you have microphones huku chini? Please. Nasema kule chini. Go. Okay. Sawa. I'd like to hear a few thoughts from you guys. What are some of the expectations that this conversation you have of this conversation? I'll start from this side. Maybe you can just lift your hand and then you could. Okay, let's start from here. Just stand up and I think you can be audible enough. But you can share microphone in it. So yeah, go. Yeah. So.
politician some sense of publicity that is not necessary.
Yeah.
And we have seen so many people following them. But the real conversation, such like conversation should be live on Citizen TV right now. But you find the real petty kind of politics is the one that is being populated. Okay. And I think media has given our politician unnecessary publicity. So in this conversation, I just want to hear, how can you change that narrative? Is it too expensive to do a live show like this? Or what can we do? Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much. I hope that one, SG, please, you respond to that. Yeah. Okay.
Greetings, everybody.
Greetings.
Okay, when I say one love, you all say respect for all. When I say respect for all, you say one love. One love? Respect for all? Okay, my name is James Andraza. I'm a political analyst, scientist, and artist. What I'm here to gain today is that I want the panelists to enable us to understand the power of social media, because to me, social media is a very powerful tool. Okay. If it's used in a positive manner, it can bring a lot of change. And we still yet to learn more about how social media can impact our lives. Thank you.
Sante sana. Let's come this side. Please pass the mic to her.
Thank you. My name is Wamboyo Kello from Gaberia Social Justice Center. I wanted to know what measures are being taken, because we see certain media outlets being biased to one opponent or bringing one side of the story instead of covering all aspects of it. And I'd also like to know, what does the media do to protect their journalists from politicians who make threats and who issue threats against people who do not conform to the narrative that they want to put out there?
All right.
Thank
you so much. Second one, okay, I'll definitely go for Michael, so give microphone to Michael. We'll come back again to you and just pick your feedback as the show goes on.
Thank you. The media is one of the pillars of democracy in any country. And there are some countries where the media is very, very powerful in terms of shaping the agenda of the country. But in Kenya, I just have one question to the panelists today. Is the Kenyan media truly independent?
Very truly independent. All right, so before we start, I'd like first of all to introduce the panel. So I'll start from the extreme left. Rachel, perhaps you tell the audience who you are and what you do, for those maybe who may not know you very well and what you do.
Thank you, comrade. Yeah. It's a tough one, eh? Acha leo bongi yangu niongee ingo kidogo, eh? So my name is Rachel Mwikali. I'm the convener, Coalition for Grassroots Human Rights Defenders Kenya. It's a network of grassroots activists, feminists, and community organizers. Bongi, mko nyuma, pigeni nduru. And I'm also a Pan-African feminist and a grassroots community organizer and how would I say, an activist, yeah. And also have interest with media because I've seen what it has done in terms of the work I do. Thank you.
But also you're a board member somewhere, isn't it?
Title, nataka zote?
A board member somewhere. It's good to
I'm a youth advisory board member for Denmark in Kenya, and also advisory person for the Minister for Development Cooperation.
Okay, thank you. Now it's complete. Okay. Koki, to you, perhaps you introduce yourself, what you do, and I know you have a lengthy CV, but perhaps the passion in this. Yeah.
Okay, my name is Koki Ocheng. I'm a scholar. I lecture journalism and communication at USIU. I'm also a member of AMWIK, which is the Association of Women in Media in Kenya. I'm a researcher specifically interested in media and gender and governance and media. My interests have been on online violence against women, of late holistic protection of journalists and civil actors, such as Mwikali here. I am a media critic and also do social commentary on issues media. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Makofi kwake tafadhalini. And SG, perhaps maybe you introduce yourself to them. Yeah.
thank you. My name is Eric Odwar. I'm Secretary General of Kenya Union of Journalists. I'm a trained journalist working with National Media Group as an editor. I am the convener of a coalition of different media organizations in our country. It's called Kenya Media Sector Working Group that brings all players in Kenya. So that's where I am.
Okay. And now that you're an editor, somebody here wonders why you give too much attention to politicians.
Okay, thank you. This is the reason why you will see a lot of stories in the media for politicians. Huh?
Yeah.
And research actually shows that that's what Kenyans like. Majority of Kenyans like. I don't think people in media houses are not responsive to what people want. And I think this is something that has come up in different town hall meetings we've had across the country. But if you look at the market research, it shows that that is what majority of Kenyans want. And as we say in democracy, majority will always have their way, that minority have their say. So that is why you will see that kind of balance in our news bulletin and in our newspapers. And I keep asking this question whenever we meet in such a conversation like this. Is like a town hall meeting. And I'll throw this question to you, and I want an honest answer from you. Today, suppose today Citizen TV will be hosting Raila Odinga. Talk about 2022. Then KTN will be hosting, for example, let me say, environmental activist. Let's assume Wangari Maathai was still alive. So she will be appearing on KTN to talk about environment. Raila Odinga will be on Citizen talking about 2022. Which station will have more viewers? So you have the answer. So I think that it's very simple that majority of Kenyans like politics. And if you have a political scientist here, you'll know that Aristotle said that it's only politics that make human being happy. And people are looking for happiness. So I think you are answered. So it is not deliberately that the media will give politicians a lot of space and in television and newspapers. And it has been proven even in newspapers that if you put a business story as a headline story, the returns of the newspaper on that day will be more. You put Raila, you put Ruto, you put Mudavadi as a headline, the returns will be less. And all these media houses are also in business to make money. So I think I've answered that.
Koki, as a scholar, I think what he's alluding to, I think, is it possible for the media to force an agenda that then people can fall in love with? For example, today if we decide to profile strong, powerful women who've changed this country, do you think that in the next few months or few years, that will be the trend in this country?
I mean, women are already making inroads, so it's not about it being a trend. If you go around the world and generally, even in Kenya, other African countries, find that women are making inroads into the media. But what I think is key is the media is talking about politics being the selling point, which I think if you're looking at hard copy newspapers, I don't know how many of you have bought a newspaper today. Anybody, can you just wave it? So subscription is the way to go, and it's online. And therefore, I think even the media is starved of stories to be told. In my opinion, yes, you're talking about politics, but what is politics? Politics is who gets what when. So if you are going to give any story, that angle of it's based on leaders or it's based on who gets where, and not give a story about what Mwikali here is doing in her organization to ensure that there's equality and equity, then I think in the next 5 years, we will not be reading the newspapers. And not to be unfair to my colleague here and my peer, but the truth of the matter is we are moving towards who can tell me a story that I can relate to. Yes.
Thank you so much. Mwikali, Somebody asked here that is the media really independent? And perhaps from where you sit, do you think the media is independent? And if it is really, what are the stories that they're not telling but they should tell?
That's a very good question. But also before me answering, I'd also like to throw a question to the audience. And my question would be, which is your favorite media? Maybe just having a volunteer. You tell us which is your favorite media station and why. Even if ni ile mother tongue, even if it's that ile kizungu mingi, which is your favorite media station and why?
Okay. Can just give the microphone here. And then kule nyuma, so those two.
Oh, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is, ni afternoon. Oh, sorry for that. So my name is Otieno Oscar from Dandora Community Justice Center. So my favorite media station is Citizen Television. First, it has the best soap.
Good, yeah. What's your name?
That's my point. Just respect to my point.
No, it's fine.
Secondly, it has the best Kenyan, I don't know, say movie like Zora, Maria. I love that.
Thank you so much. Makofi kwa tafadhali. Pale nyuma. It's good to have a lady. Can we have a lady, a female voice? Any lady? Oh, right there. Okay. And in fact, I think I'd like to Eric to answer that, because before we used to watch a lot of soap operas, then Citizen tried local production, and now we can't get enough of it.
Hi everyone. My name is Selena. So my favorite TV station is Citizen TV. I like Citizen TV because of their news coverage, the way they cover different issues. I love their news gang, how they break down on different topics, give their opinions. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So the reason why I was asking this, comrades, sitting from where I sit, first as an activist, as a grassroots community organizer, and as a feminist, is that based on Amnesty Report 2018, top 3 of what Kenyans were trusting, media was amongst the top 3. And the reason why I was asking this, you find a lot of, even us activists, we do a lot of work, what the media also should be reporting. But the media will never give you that coverage. Because mentally, we have this idea that if you see anything in KTN or Citizen, that's the whole truth. You can't question. They are the only mainstream media trusted station that you can really trust. So also that, like based on the question also you asked, is the media really independent? I'll say no. No meaning, also coming to the comrade who said, if there's Raila and there's Professor Wangari Maathai, having in mind the media who has built Raila, there's no Raila without media. True or false? True or false? The same media is the one that will bring this narrative, baba natupeleka Canaan. Unless there's no Canaan kwa TV, ndajoja tunaenda Canaan. The same media, if they really wanted to build Wangari Maathai and the late Professor Wangari Maathai and our politics, would be the one also listening to the narrative of activists or narrative of change makers within the society. And this comes back to my mind in terms of how news is created. And you find a lot of time, they should be working with us closely as comrades. Because I've seen journalists, even like in the last 2 months, there was a genocide in Madare. The people who came through me, and Vislim can tell you, we had to go head on with some even media station and also entity. We are like, there's a genocide in Madare. Who is reporting? 2 months ago. Who is reporting? Citizen came and amplified on the other narrative, but they didn't follow up because there were women that were raped. There were people that were killed in Madare, but it never went viral. So for me, I still feel that it's a good avenue to do work together with them, but they don't utilize. We try to reach out. Even women try to reach out, but they don't give that space. And I'll say this, and I've seen Comrade Hussein here in the room. Thank you, Hussein, for being present. There was this Kivumbi, or was it on Monday? Was it on Monday when I was there? And in Kivumbi, Hussein was acting as like, I recommend Comrade Mwikali because also you understand the issues in the ground. But the same media is the one who think women can't discuss politics. Personal is political, sidanganywe. Even that environmental rights issue is a political agenda. If they really want to build on that, they can still build. If they really want to build, and let me give also another good example. We have seen the campaign and may the soul of George Floyd rest in peace. Kenyan media was so quick in pushing Black Lives Matter, which we agree, even me, I'm a black person, but they were not so quick pushing Yasin Moyo's life matter. Why would international news become like our daily news, and even the case on how it goes, but justice for Sharon is not a daily thing? Why would that happen? And for me, the reason even why I'm saying that they are not independent is even the politics around the gender justice politics. Even like when a male politician steals a lot of money, there's not usually that dramatization, like how many even girlfriends or blah, blah they have done. But if a woman politician is caught in corruption scandal, media destroys. I'm a victim of media. I know that. I'm a victim of national media. I was thrown under the bus.
Okay.
So you have to change strategy, and you're like, how comes? So at least me, I have the privilege. There's something that I'm also coming. At least me, I have the privilege. I can communicate in English. Wangapi hapa mnajua Ngoso? Wangapi hapa mnajua Ngoso?
Kwa wengi sana hapa.
As in unaweza, si ati mjui, unaweza enda uchukue nao add-on kwa TV.
Wako wengi hapa.
But mbona muitangu mkue hapo?
Now, Mwikali, I think let me come back to Eric. Eric, perhaps for the sake of our audience, I'd like you to explain to them how news headlines are made, how we decide what comes number one, number two, number three, perhaps from an editorial perspective point of view, like from the field all the way till it arrives either on TV or on the paper.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. First, I want to say that the media is the mirror of the society. So that when we give you these leaders to talk to you, these are the people you vote for. Number two, you know that these leaders, they have the followers and they have the supporters who will always want to know what they are doing. Number three, when you give these people the public space they operate in, they have got a responsibility to discharge those duties and also to serve members of the public. And that is why the media must also give them a platform to engage you. If you look at what we call the civic space, the media connects those who govern and those who are governed. So when you see these politicians on TV, radio especially, you are supposed to engage them. And that's why if you follow news, there's usually live engagement with these politicians. Whether you can use Twitter, you can use Facebook, you can use SMS. What do we do as the audience? We are the same people who are given data bundles by the same politicians who are on TV to change the narrative, not the media. And I can tell you, follow, for example, Mudavadi is on KTN today at 9 p.m. having conversations with Kenyans. Then you are given an opportunity to ask questions through SMS and make comments. Do you follow what Kenyans write on those platforms? Because when you are given that platform, it's through that platform that you are supposed to air your views, what you think is wrong and what should be done. But what we do, we usually have two categories. One, praising the politician. The other one, abusing the politician. So has the media provided with you the platform? Have you used the platform that has been provided with you, especially young people, given that I can see in this room, majority of you are young people? What do? We abuse and misuse those platforms, and that is the truth. Because it's through that platform that we're supposed to engage the leader. If these leaders had told us that they are going to provide us with the laptops in 2013. These laptops have not been provided. But when this leader is live on TV, when you are supposed to ask those questions, do we ask those questions? So let us do our role as citizens. We have a responsibility to hold leaders to account. The same way the media has got a responsibility to hold leaders to account. Back to your question, Odongo. What the media does, we look at what is in the best interest of the society. So when we go out there to look for stories, we weigh and come up with these stories based on how they are important to the nation. Then from there, we decide which is going to be the biggest story based on its impact. And also, remember, for those of you who are students of political science, you know how the political science, David Easton describes democracy. He described democracy as continued response, preference of the people. That is how David Easton analyzes politics. So that is what I said earlier, that once we have all these stories, we're also supposed to respond to the preferences of the majority. I said, Kenyans, we are a political society, and we like politics. And right now, I can tell you that different media houses have come up with different business models. Just responding like what my sister was talking about, Coke here. And the business model right now is a subscription. Even if you go to the stories that Kenyans are buying right now, like for example, let's say a Daily Nation where there's a paywall. And if you look at the stories that people are still paying to read, are political stories. You do a story there with a headline with that one paragraph about what Ruto said or what Ruto is up to. Everybody wants to read what Ruto is up to. That does not mean that we do not have also readers who are reading other stories that are in the paper or that have been put online by different media houses. So what we do as a media, we are supposed to have that balance, whereby we serve the entire society. If there are people who like environment stories, those stories are always there. If we look at the papers, there are stories about human rights. What I know will interest my sister Rachel here. Those stories are there. If you are looking for stories on economic, they are there. You look at business stories are always there telling you how the economy is performing. If you go there, you'll see the stories of the cost of fuel going up. Those stories are in the paper. Because if you are someone who is concerned with those areas, they are there. They have energy stories that are there. So what we do as the media, we give you a whole package. So it's upon you as a consumer of our products, as the media, to choose what you want and what you like. That is democracy, isn't it? We are not supposed to lord over you. We give you everything. That is why in the news you'll see their entertainment. Like my friend talked about, he likes soaps. Soaps are there because that's what he likes and it serves him. There are people who like sports. Sports stories are there. Those who want sports, he like for him, after he has watched soaps, he goes to sleep. Because he has been served. Yeah. Then there is somebody who will wait until the end of the news bulletin where there are sports stories. Once you've seen this, you watch sports stories, you go and sleep. Okay. And that is what the media is supposed, so that you serve every segment of the society. Okay. Even there are those people who like gossip, because I know they sell. On Friday, you get Nairobian, and you read all the gossips in town. Then you are satisfied. So the media is there to satisfy all segments of the society.
Okay. Koki, I need you to help us with a bit more theoretical background here. There are two concepts that perhaps the audience may not understand. You could explain it to us. Priming and framing, and how that is so important to how we consume stories in the media. That's number one. Number two, so are we abdicating the agenda setting role of the media if we leave the responsibility of the audience to decide what they consume, if we do not help them, if we consider that indeed media literacy is still not really out there in the public?
Media exists to educate, inform, influence, and persuade. So media doesn't exist to elevate just one aspect of the society. And it may elevate leaders because it serves the leaders, and therefore will not be playing. It could be in the past be playing guitar-like, or being what you call a lapdog. So if media exists to expose us to what Ruto is doing today, Raila is doing tomorrow, then it means that it exists as a lapdog. It's at the lapdog of the leaders and the elite to make sure that the discourse is elite. And that's why all of you will be speaking about bottom-up economy. What is the other one? Going to Canaan. Because you're not even thinking through that content. And that's why it's been fed to you every other day. But then there are other roles and other genres that are important that will focus you to understand. For example, today in media, we talk about media literacy. How do you interrogate what has been told to you in the media? How do you make sense of it? When you talk about women being raped in Mathare, are you talking about them as a statistic, or are you telling a story of a real injustice from a human rights perspective? So I think the media abdicates that role or doesn't give it as much attention. Coming to the words framing and priming. First, the overall idea of media is to set agenda. What agenda setting is about is not to tell you what to think about, but what to think. So for example, I go back to my friend here. He wants to watch Maria, Zora, that's all he wants to think about. And that will be the conversation. Yes, it's true. That is what he'll be catching up on. And if all the youth here will meet and the first thing they talk about, Maria, did you see what Zora happened? And that's your conversation, then that's the level at which your literacy is. But if you're interrogating, like my sister there, what happens in the news gang when they critique what goes on in society, and it opens your mind to see things from your perspective. I always tell my students, I have paid my loans. I have very few years to work, by the way. So therefore, the burden of paying, is it 120,000 per person you owe even without working, goes back to the youth. Are you interrogating that? Or are you really putting a voice to that? And then you will always say, okay, mainstream media is there, it should talk about it, but you have social media. You can structure it and give your voice, because today the media runs to social media to get breaking news. If I'm wrong, I can be proven wrong. But bottom line, it's not that we don't have a voice. It is the use of that voice that we should really interrogate. So agenda setting, it's about what we want you to think. So if that's all you can pay attention to, then that's basically what you think about. But unfortunately, democracy is about who gets what when. So if you're the youth, you're marginalized. If you're the woman, you're marginalized. If you're a person with disability, you're marginalized. And today, the boy child also claims they are marginalized, because you're not interrogating about how today, if you are 29 and you're basically not employed, what you are lacking or what opportunities you're losing out to advance your life. So priming, basically you're saying, what should you pay attention to? What should I bring to your attention? And how should I frame it so that it fits, your mindset? Already, if I say bottoms up, or if I say wheelbarrow economics, maybe some of us will be up, isn't it? We'll be out there when the politicians are passing, and we'll be the first to chant or to be the ones carrying the wheelbarrows as leaders alight from helicopters. I mean, it's basically in your psyche. So what you support, you want to hear, and therefore we, the media, tell you. And that's why SG here is telling us that they will tell us stories about, politicians, because after all, that's what sells. But media exists to educate, to persuade, to influence thinking, to make people look at things from their perspective, and to make things relevant to them. Today, if you lack water in your house, that should be an issue of relevance. You should not be digging a borehole because you have Nairobi Water that should be providing the water. Today, if you don't have electricity, it should be your concern. After all, many of you are students, I suppose, and you need that light. How are you voicing that concern? Are you supporting campaigns like Switch Off KPLC? Are you supporting campaigns that talk about inequality? Or are we just at the level of that program that was on Citizen at Friday evening? What was it, 10 over 10? Is that where we are? Are we, following Zora? Or what are we doing? Are we on TikTok? And when on TikTok, what are we articulating? So it looks like a laughing matter, but it really isn't. Because you as youth, this is your time. Many people who emancipated the world were the age of 20 to 30. Don't expect us who are going to the grave soon to be the ones to drive your agenda. We've lived ours. So if you want to dwell at 10 over 10, that level, then it's up to you. That doesn't mean that the media is not telling you the stories that you should pay attention to.
Thank you so much. Makofi kwa tafadhalini. So Rachel, in the morning when you take perhaps M3 going to work and you tune into certain local radio stations, you know the content we are discussing, And if you look at our media, you know what they sell and stuff. Does it ever worry you that we are in a country where she's mentioning that we've got individual debt of over 120,000 per person, that the same people who have been part of this government for the last 10 years are the ones who are coming with economic models, but we don't interrogate that? Does it ever bother you, the content that the media carries, and what does that do to the society, in your opinion?
That's a very good question. First, I was that one person who was like, I don't need a TV in my house. After being in this struggle and seeing, in fact, even I don't watch news. Yes, I stopped watching news. I stopped watching Kenyan news, to be honest. Because you realize, that age group, you're below 30, of the youth, that sometimes I usually feel the people that you're mentioning are the ones who are now burdening us with their responsibility of bad leadership in this country. And now they want us to sort of sanitize their bad leadership. And that's why for me, I usually feel it's very problematic when we see our elders in the society and respecting them, their role, when they burden the whole burden of this country to young people. Young people are working so hard. Look at Dandora Justice Center, what they are doing. Look, Moderator Social Justice Center. Look, Kaberia Feminists for Peace. Look, even Power, what they are doing, Osiasa Place. So I feel that most of the time, the way you'll be going and saying, I want to listen because there's authentic discussion, it's lacking nowadays, and it's wanting nowadays. Because nowadays what you see is, for example, a politician insulted another politician, they are willing to bring that politician in the show. But if you're talking content, they are not ready to bring you in the show. But I don't mean that I don't acknowledge even the power of the media. Since we know that this is the agenda they set, and the agenda sometimes they want to push their people, my challenge to us all, what I've been doing, and thank also to Sitia from Ghetto Radio, what Ghetto Radio has been offering to community, is that they bring those voices that are never heard to come and talk about conscious content. And I'm talking to an experience that I've been in both local media and national media. The reason even why I was blacklisted in national media, now I'm coming back, is because I was told, you talk too much truth to power, you're very radical. You're very, even though you use the word if you're a woman, you're too emotional to discuss this discussion. As if the rage you have being abused in this country, the fact now we are, majority of us here are jobless. Majority of us nowadays don't eat because we can't afford 2 kg of maize bag. But you're being told, calling out those leaders that are doing injustice to this country, you're being told we don't need you because it puts us on trouble. How does that now contribute to democracy? Because there's no democracy if I'm not given airtime to talk about injustice. Yes, Mwalimu, we can talk about social media, but let's use, for example, which I'm happy nowadays we are moving to digital. So we might end up closing now that of Nation and Citizen. Most of us are using our social media, but you look even in terms of the safety of all of us who are conscious in social media. We have seen there are people who don't like what they express, but do you have tolerance, for example, when you see someone brother being kidnapped, and then all of us are clapping. And if you disagree with that, now you find resistance on social media. And if there's something, Danish, that really pains people, leave alone mainstream. So the bullying in social media, the bullying. You'll be waking up and seeing Facebook, you're like, I don't want to be in Facebook. You'll be waking up and seeing WhatsApp, you're like, I don't want to be in WhatsApp, because already also you don't know who is targeting you. So you find most of the time what I feel is that there's need even for us to sort of collaborate, the journalists and the activists and feminists and community organizer, because sometimes they lack content. The content that you go to a gender interview and then someone asks you, ukirepio ulikomeva? You can imagine. And the way I'm saying this, it's also like challenging and calling them out. Sometimes you have to, comrades, sometimes you have to call them out. Like me, there are things that I've written about me that I was married. I was never married. Yeah, it's true, I was abused. But I was never married. But some people online have written how married I was. So you find for them that moment itself of victimizing Mwikali, but it does not glorify my struggle. And that's why for me it comes in terms of also like understanding that, yes, we agree that you go with the political discussion, but right to water is democracy, it's political. Access to health is political. Why not bring these experts, instead of seeing us just the community people, because we are also experts, the fact that we are resisting this injustice, we are experts. And that's why I feel sometimes it's also good that she's also here and the Mwalimu is also here to even tell the audience sometimes what do you look. Because sometimes media can break you and break you. You're like, they call you there, maybe they have, this is the thing I've realized. Nowadays I'm like, when you put a head on me, expert, pia miki vyangu, with my own struggle. So they'll bring you there, maybe the agenda is that should bring you down. They haven't told you it's coming to that interview. Secondly, they are like, they haven't told you clearly how long the discussion will take and the thematic areas you're going to focus. So you come here as an activist, you're like, I'm ready to talk about this issue, but they give, when you start raising those demands of this is where you're going wrong, they give the politician who is not doing their actual work. So for me, I still feel that, and this is from a project we just did recently with Forum Civ on amplifying the voices of women human rights defenders, that even as activists, we can't avoid working with them. But at the same time, we can avoid working with them using our other spaces that have influence to push our agenda. But secondly, in this one, you have to listen to it clearly. For us also to have credible, like the way they're mentioning politicians, these are politicians that are in Wikipedia. For you even to fit in that Wikipedia, if you don't have a link of trusted source, you don't fit in Wikipedia, even if you have saved this Kenya for the rest, and they can correct me. So it's also back to us, we see, as much as these are the barriers, what are the opportunities for us to move forward? Because there are many opportunities. We understand now they're talking about wheelbarrow and everything, but how do we challenge that? Okay. But at the same time, also, how do we sort of ensure that also when you're seated there in that interview, you're able to tell them, this is not true. With that confidence that this is wrong, and the narrative you give is not clear. I've been able to do that. And the majority in this room, I know they have been able to do that. Okay. But at the same time, it goes back also to how also do you use the local media. Okay. 2017 election, violence, it was also spread by the local media. 207. So 207 and also 2017. Some parts, if people didn't see Madare, there was violence 2017. And it was through this local media you will hear, they are killing our people. They are doing this. So also the media, that's why I feel they are part of also oppressing and at the same time shrinking the civic space when they don't give information that really empowers but disempowers.
Okay, so how I usually like my events, we start first of all by what I'd call, just setting the ground by knowing exactly, because we're going to talk about what do we do next. Eric, how do we avoid the bias of journalists and editors that then infiltrates how stories are told. Like, for example, I'm usually, by how we define people, some people are, opposition leaders, whether they're not in opposition or not. Some people are activists. There's nothing wrong with being an activist, but how do we avoid the editor's bias in which story is primed, which story is set as the first one? That's number one. Number two, there was a story here. A lady asked a question that perhaps, is it time for the Kenyan media to come out openly and say, oh, as this station ABC, we are affiliated to this political party, just like it happens in the US? Because we know behind the scenes that certain media houses push certain narratives, but the audience who are mostly, I can say the media literacy in this country is very low, consume that information as wholesome, yet we know the agenda is being pushed. What do you think about those?
Okay, thank you. First of all, I want to just to assure Rachel that I don't think there is anyone in the media that actually sits down and decides how they are going to mistreat human rights defenders, like she's one of them. Because I know journalists also are human rights defenders. For your case, as much as I'm not a private what could have happened, but I know you need a lot of protection. And it comes a time when, as an editor and as a journalist, you are in a show, and I believe that you're exposing yourselves too much. I need to intervene and protect you, because we still need you tomorrow to defend and promote the rights of women and grassroots leaders. It is not deliberate in the media for people who are working there to shut you down and promote another panelist. If a presenter sees the signs of you exposing yourselves too much, because if you expose yourselves too much and people know that you have a lot of information that is against them, then you become a target. So as a presenter, it is only fair for the presenter to see how the presenter can protect you so you do not expose yourselves too much. Because sometimes we usually say that you must protect someone against destroying herself or himself. So I think that's what could have happened. Otherwise, what I know is there is nowhere in newsroom or where editors sit where they decide we are not going to give so-and-so a chance to speak. So as Mwalimu has said here, as young people, don't withdraw. Be part of the conversation. Participate in all these processes. And I will tell people that if you look at these politicians who are around, in another 5 years, most of them will be out. And we are going to have a huge generational struggle of people who are going to step in for these other leaders. And I can tell you, for example, these leaders have been there for 30 years. All of them, some even more than 30 years. So they own the political system in this country. But their time is coming to an end. Sometimes you cannot stop nature. So as young leaders and as a youth, start preparing for these positions. And that's what Koki was saying, that you must also gauge yourself and see where you fit in the event that these opportunities arise. Go back to what Danish you were talking about. I don't believe that there are biasness in newsrooms in the form of giving people names. For example, even if there is handshake, Raila Odinga remains the opposition leader by definition. Because the definition of opposition leader is someone who was the runners-up in the last general election. And as things stand right now, who was the runners-up in the last elections? Raila Odinga. So definitely, he becomes the opposition leader.
The Constitution actually doesn't have opposition leader in this current one.
That's what I'm saying. The Constitution says the minority leader. I think that's what is there. But naturally, in communication, some of these things we go by the context. We don't need to be referring to that person as minority leader, because what is known worldwide is the opposition. So as much as we change our constitution, but what remains is the opposition, because we must always have the government on one side and the opposition on the other side, as much as we change the name. When it comes to giving names like activists, some of these names also come by what you do. And there's nothing wrong if you're an activist. Like me, I'm a labor rights activist. I think nothing wrong with that. So that is how sometimes we draw these names. Going to what my sister had asked there about if the media in Kenya can take a position on supporting a specific politician, I still don't think we are there yet because of the nature of our politics again here in Kenya. Because in those other countries, why the media take a position is because those people, their politics are different from ours. It is known. For example, if you go to the US, it is known what the Democrats stand for. It is known what the Conservatives stand for. If you go to the UK, the same. It's known what the Labour Party stands for. So if you are taking a position, you take a position based on policies and ideologies that a political party stand for. Here in Kenya, is there a political party that stands for any ideology? Because the media sets the agenda, and Rachel had told you that the media, in the Amnesty report that they had, media is rated one of the most trusted institutions in Kenya. So if we mislead you, for example, that we are going to support William Ruto with his bottoms-up approach, which even their own politicians cannot explain, so we have misled you. If we go to the other side where Raila is, you ask him, what does ODM stand for? Because we know that in the next few months when the party will be doing primaries, we'll see people crying left, right, and center. There was no democracy there. If the media leads you there, I'm sure you'll be blaming the media. So as things stand at the moment, I don't believe that our politics have reached a level where you can trust and say that this is what it is good for this country. Because the media is not supposed to mislead you. So what we do is we are able to give you the platform, where you sit, you are able to choose which political party or which politician you will want to stand or to vote for. So that is the dilemma where we have. Although these are discussions we've always had in the media, that is our media come of age where we can stand and say that we as a nation, we are going to support party A, or as citizen, we are going to support party B, or as KTN or Media Max, we are going to support party C. So we are still having that kind of a discussion, but opinion is still divided because our political parties still do not stand for a specific ideology. Because if you look at in 2013, we had a different party. In 2017, we had Jubilee. Next year, I'm sure Jubilee will not be there again. So, you see. So we need to reach a level whereby all of us have got trust and confidence in our political system, which you can wake up one day and say that having studied the ideology of this political party, having looked at the trend and having seen what this political party stands for, this is where we believe the future of Kenya lies, and therefore, as a media house, we are going to throw our weight behind this political party.
Okay, Koki, I see SG here is, he's a labor rights activist, and I see he's being very nice to his colleagues. But we know very well that bias, inherent bias, if perhaps where I come from, I am allied to a certain political party or candidate, that will likely show in how I tell the story. If an editor in a newsroom knows you come from, like for example, I worked for a newsroom where I was always sent to cover Raila in Kibra. I don't know why. It was like, I was like a political writer, but always Odongo, Kibra, Odongo, Raila, Odongo, ODM. That's all they gave me, Maybe it wasn't intentional, but that's one. So how do we deal with that inherent bias, which Eric and Nini? Because I believe that words are very powerful, even though there's nothing wrong with an activist, calling somebody an activist. I have no problem. I'm an activist myself. But there's a way when the media calls you that, then they follow with certain specific footages that then, in the mind of the public, then words like evil society comes. And so we demonize people who fight for our rights. How do we deal with that? Then secondly, Eric also says that maybe our media has not reached a level where we can openly say we support, but you know very well that in certain media houses, they fired certain editors who were seen to be independent. You know the story of Dennis Galava. It was a public story. You know very well that if you tell this story in a certain type of way, you know editorial policy that governs how stories are told. And these editorial policies are mostly political statements or business interests sometimes, you know. So how do we deal with that? Then last but not least, do we really talk about curriculum properly? And the curriculum is the training of our journalists as a trainer and as an academic. How do we come up with the curriculum that then trains the journalist who comes and presents news to us? Is there continuous education for journalists that then gives them points, like we have with continuous legal education, and even teachers now introducing that?
Okay, I feel like you've asked me
Several questions, but sorry. So bias.
You'll have to keep reminding me.
So let's start with bias.
Okay, I think let me pick up from Eric, then I can come to feed in with you. Now, Eric, it's true that the media today or the society today doesn't seemingly have a position, but the Constitution of Kenya says the sovereignty of this country is for the people. And therefore, because it's for the people, the vote that you put in that day should count. Must count. Not even should, must count. That is why some of us go or believe that we go to vote on that particular day. And by voting, you make a political statement. Isn't it the voters the other day who removed a governor in Kiambu the other day? Isn't it the same voters who removed, who chose another governor in another area? It the voters who basically removed, was it the whole of the MCAs in Baringo and Makueni? So I think that notion that people are at the level of mediocrity, we can't decide who should lead us, is one thing the media should catch up on. I know it is a challenge for the media to then decide to do not take a position, but by virtue of ownership, the media has already taken position. So I think we'll be crucifying them too much to ask them to do alternatively, especially if we're depending on commercial media to tell us stories. What we should be asking for is public media, free public media, just like the BBC or Al Jazeera. Why? Because if it is free and it is not state-driven, then they'll be able to give us stories that speak to our needs. One thing that is a major gap in the Kenyan context is that free public media. Any commercial entity must look at the bottom line. So we cannot depend on them to tell us the stories that we want to hear. And therefore, that also goes to the issue of editorial bias. From a professional point of view, I wouldn't call it editorial bias, because already when you get into the media house, the policy exists. And your bottom line, it's clear what you need to do at every stage of the reporting process. So you start from collecting the news and then, of course, taking an angle. And when you take the angle, of course, then it takes the frame. And then you know, will this set agenda? So those decisions are editorial and they are aligned to what the media house. Our dependence on commercial media to tell us stories about human rights is skewed in that nature. When it comes to curriculum, I think many universities and the Media Council is driving many media institutions to make sure that their curriculum speaks to trends. What are the current trends? Personally, where I come from at my university, we keep on reviewing our programs every 5 years. Because if stories are told the way they are still told by the media today, in 5 years' time, we will not be paying attention to the media. That's the reality. In its current format, where we are sitting in front of the TV. Just reflect on you yourselves. When you're at home, you might be having your parents on TV watching news, but you are watching something else on your phone. And you will pay attention to what you want to hear. So that's the reality of the situation. So the curriculum that lags behind will focus on legacy media. But the truth of the matter, and I want to reemphasize, is if we look at the digital space and structure it, because you are the alternative storytellers, you yourselves, we can have people who are qualified in the media field going into these spaces and structuring these stories. We've seen the conversation, for example, we've seen the elephant. If you follow those, please take time out of Zora and TikTok. Please go look for the conversation. Please go look for elephant. Go listen, go read, and it might enlighten you on some of the issues that affect you and that you might be highlighting. I think many of you are campus going. By the time we were in campus, we had boom. We came from different backgrounds. We went to the university and we were equalized by having access to resources from government. It's only towards the end of my era that fees was introduced. How do you elevate a society from poverty if you incur expenses on something that is their right? It goes back to the Bill of Rights. It is your right to get education. How do you expect people to be wizened if at all there's school fees in primary school? It doesn't make sense. So what are we doing about it, or what are we saying about it so that people become cognizant of that change? The other question was...
Actually, you've covered them all.
All right, thank you.
Dominion, you've remembered them all. Rachel, sometimes I feel like we put too much pressure on journalists, but we really not ask them what they go through. Maybe learning from what we've done in the civil society space. Of course, journalists are part of the civil society space. How else, what do you think we should do to support their work, especially the welfare of journalists, which is a major issue in terms of how they tell stories?
I think if you ask me, we have done that. Yeah. And we are still continuing doing that. Because I remember there was it 3 or 4 years ago, there was an attack on the media. And most of us activists who are not even journalists, I remember even I was in the forefront page, went to in solidarity. We didn't ask, do you really need our solidarity? We showed up, even Kome being one of them. Where is Kome? Is Kome in the room? Like, much respect to Kome. People, like, Kome is the one comrade that always show up to struggles that even if he doesn't know you, he comes through. And I think for us, I think we're in that point that we feel we are giving much than what we are getting from them. Because when we want them down, or when we need airtime, there's usually those like those mchengo mob that you don't manage to get there. And that's why I feel mostly as activists, sometimes we feel they're not pushing our agenda. But having said that, I know activists that have been in the forefront defending journalists even when it comes to protection work. Someone will reach out to you and you're like, what can we do? What do you need? Or this is the person that you reach out to. But I feel also it's the right time also for them to change how they do things, that they shouldn't be staying alone. They should also engage us. The way I'm telling you, like I've been to those shows, I'm like, but as a presenter, I shouldn't say this. Say this instead. Or come to one of our collective political education, you understand what struggle means. So that when you go to report, you don't give a narrative that we don't agree in terms of social justice and human rights. And I like the way you said you are revolutionary activists. And this one also will pose a challenge to you. Being an SG, is there a possibility, and I know you have network, is there a possibility maybe you can commit even part of your contribution to this struggle, that once a while when there's this show, ensure even if you get one artist, not just for entertainment, because we know what Nova 10 has done to artists, but revolutionary artists that you know, when they come there, like Mfasan does his spoken word, people will resonate. When we have Javan and comes there, will resonate. Because also there's that biasness. We feel that our comrades, even within the activism space, are never given airtime. Our comrades within the social justice space are not given airtime. So for me, I think it's just a relationship that we need to improve, especially now that we are going to elections. They can't be alone and we can't be alone. Yes, it's good, Eric, you are saying that you're all whistleblowers. But sometimes reality kwa ground is whistleblower for who? Whistleblower for who? And for what, for what reason? Yes, we can say in papers, the way we say, even me, I'm a big fan of 2010 Constitution. But the level of inequality in this country, we know when it comes to certain power and privileges, who gets it? Koki, you have just said, majority are university. But the reality of grand majority are also here, not university going student. Even some of us speaking English, yes, because we realize one thing, English is working against us, so we have to teach ourselves English. Because that's what we are being locked. So the point for me is that we should not generalize that everybody fits in this cap, but ensuring we have this point where we know, the thing that also I hate when people say, but we call women to the newsroom, but they don't show up. You have called me at 6 and you want me at 7, the media station. How do I maneuver? If you look to a point of privilege, maybe I was having kids, and also like having in mind that women also are not homogeneous. So for me, I feel SG, and this directly to you and even you, Koki, how do we build that partnership? All of us, from student perspective of academic level, from us who are going to Madare University, and from SG level, who is working with media, let's have these conversations of where do we see democracy, and not democracy based on a politician, as much as we have to hold them into accountable. But democracy, even if it's based on politician, but to bring in people also to engage with them. Do we talk about public participation? We head into election. And even during this time of COVID, we were good saying, Osha Mikono, COVID, blah, blah, blah. But do we really know how many Nairobians don't have water? You see? So I still believe that in terms of human rights space, and this is also my hope to the media, both local, because locals, they have been trying, also national and digital space, that we have no choice but to collaborate if you want to win this war.
I would like to comment on what Rachel said about women and the media. I'm one of those who have gone to the media on voluntary basis from 2016 until I was edited out, and I really don't care. But basically, if you want your voice to be heard, you'll wake up at 4, Rachel. If you want your voice to be heard, you'll go at 10, because that's where the conversation is. And that's where people are having conversations. And this thing of women, you know, oh, we can't, we have, no. The world doesn't deal that way. And I can tell you because I can be a parent to all of you here. The world requires that you show up on the table.
But my question is, Koki, I hear you and I agree, but also both you and I are talking to a point of privilege. Despite I come from Madare, I'm talking to a point of privilege that, for example, I'll sit with men in a bar up to, let's say, 11, so that when they kata the keki, I kata also. Let's assume for those who have partners, and mostly partners that are violent. So I think for me, I'm not saying I disagree, I'm those people who wake up, but I'm like, how many Mwikalis do we have outside there, or Koki have the same privilege as ourselves?
I think the gender struggle is not female or male. You negotiate these things.
Okay.
And Koki, let me just respond to that. Huh? I don't know if you know when I was invited to come to this panel. It was a last minute. So assuming it was a lady who was supposed to come here, Angesema, it was last minute, therefore I'm not coming. Exactly that's what you are saying. And Koko is trying to tell you that we are in a land of, we're in a society where people are trying to struggle. Sometimes you can, in the media, what I've seen, maybe no one has ever explained to you why it happens that way. I have seen, for example, you can plan a show, like Friday at 9 p.m., we are going to have a show. You've invited Koki here, you invited Danish here, everything planned. Tomorrow you make follow-up, they have agreed. Then on Friday, around 6, Koki tells you that, oh, you know, I've got this, oh, blah, therefore I'm pulling out. So what happens? You are now again looking for, you have to look for a lady, of course. to replace Koki. So then you started, now whom do I call? Then that is when you start calling people to come and sit in for. Of course, whoever is going to invite you will not be telling you, oh, we were hoping Koki will come. Koki has just pulled out last minute. That is one of the rampant cases that we experience in the media. Number two, something has just happened. Is a breaking news at 8 p.m. And therefore, you want to put together a panel immediately. By 9, you need to put together a panel so that you can have that as a matter of discussion during prime news. What do? You start calling people, and of course, you also want to balance the panel so that it's not men-only panel. You have both women and women on the panel. So what do? You start calling. Obviously, you have to reach out to women or women leaders or activists come to the panel. Then that is again where the lady will tell you, no, you've ambushed me, you're not coming. So if you don't turn up, obviously we'll have a manual, how do you call it? So that's what happens. Maybe if somebody I've never taken time to explain to you why sometimes the media look for you last minute.
Eric. So I think Kidogo, Danish, I think also, I like the way you are saying, your call last minute and you are here. But you see also the fact also you're a man, you exist in terms of privilege. Let's agree with that. It exists in terms of privilege. Wait a minute, Sugoki, yeah? I think there was a list, not even I think, I know there was a list of female that was shared by Editors Guild. There's a time even you invited me, Wakina Nanjala Nyabola shared a list of different influencers, women around Nairobi. In case you miss one, you can call another one. I don't believe if you call one, you can miss the other one. Let's be honest. And if you want a list, Eric, today, tell me to write for you a list, I'll give it to you.
Eric, I'll make a suggestion here that perhaps our work with Forum Savers partners, we may need to organize a capacity building for civil society players and grassroots leaders on how do you engage the media, because it's very important. What she's saying is very legitimate, but I also see the gap because I've worked in the media and I know how it works.
Maybe what we can do, we can organize another town hall.
Exactly.
Yes, with community grassroots leaders, so that we can do what we call inclusion, whereby you are bringing everybody on board and we have that conversation. Because I know we've had 2 town hall meetings in Nairobi. Yeah. I think I mobilized the first one. The second one, I don't know who mobilized, so I did not look at the list of the people who participated. But all is not lost, because next year we are going to elections. And we need everybody on board, and we have everybody taking part in this conversation. So I will organize under Kenya Media Sector Working Group to do the mobilization. So I want us to agree that I look for Odongo to organize that. Odongo will reach out to all of you, and we agree the day and the venue.
Exactly.
Okay. Maybe a comment, and sorry for the interruption, but I just feel the narrative of privilege and not privilege is not one we should be driving, not in all fairness, because we say education is accessed by women and men in Kenya, be it until at least Form 4 level, meaning that if you look at research, most of the Kenyan girls and men access education 50 to 50. And that's really what you need for life. So the idea of privilege is like kind of, isolating others against others. But really, you find yourself in spaces of privilege because you're present.
No,
But
Rachel, Rachel, a minute. No, Rachel, just a minute.
Like just giving points of information to a
Rachel.
level that we can see even the report that was released during this time of COVID by Oxfam. Could you please also check it so that also it has statistics and facts about inequality in Kenya?
Okay, because I need us to come back to a very important conversation as we almost wind up this. Eric, it's about decent work. I feel like sometimes the audience do not understand the role that decent work plays in promoting democracy and in stuff like that. Perhaps, maybe you could tell them, what is the state of decent work for journalists in this country? Because you've seen last year an entire newsroom was fired, and you know very well journalists get sometimes we used to make fun that you're paid, some of you say you're paid peanuts, we used to say we were paid sim, the tiniest of them all. What is the state of just labor, the landscape of media, and how does that affect the quality of stories we tell?
Okay, thank you, Odongo. If you look at the state of the media and work in the media, majority of people working in media are correspondents. Correspondents, these are the people who are not on permanent and pensionable terms with the different media houses. So those are the majority, but we also have those who are on permanent and pensionable terms on, across the industry. And it has been a thorny issue because of majority who are contributing the most content that is used by the media houses, and they do not have better terms and conditions of service. So that is generally what is happening in the media.
Okay, and how does that, I mean, do we really ever see that a journalist's term of contract affect the stories they tell? Does then the public understand that, so that perhaps they could also support people like you who are fighting for decent work in the
Yes, there are two ways of looking at it. Number one, if you are not properly remunerated by your employer, obviously you become vulnerable, and your work is not up to the standards that are required. Number two, if you are not properly paid by your employer, also make you vulnerable to receiving bribes. Because by the end of the day, you also have got bills to pay in your life as an individual, and also you also want to grow. So we've seen that such cases whereby journalists go extra way, out of their way to do their work and deliver, but they are not compensated well by their employer. So that is one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it, we also have people in the media who are earning very well, even more than politicians we are talking about, more than members of parliament. We have these people in the media. And from the engagement I've seen, these are the people who also seem to be very vulnerable towards being influenced by the outsiders, so that they slant stories towards or against a particular direction. So those are the dynamics that we have in the industry, that as a society we have a problem with integrity. Whether you are well paid or not, integrity is a problem, and we may also have, obviously in the media, just like any other society, other sectors of the society, we have such cases of integrity. So poor pay has got an effect on how a journalist delivers or does his or her work.
Okay, thank you. Koki, now keeping up with solution-oriented, perhaps, is it time for us to reimagine certain media models that could then help us to deal with some of those, you know, some of those exposures that journalists have, and maybe you could help us drawing with the DW, what you guys are doing at Aga Khan Graduate School?
There are two ways of looking at holistic protection of civil actors, and it's not just media per se or journalists, but also civil society. One thing that happens when journalists or those in the civil society go to work, they forget that they are human, and they indulge themselves into, you know, things that really don't correlate with themselves. So there have been efforts by many civil society organizations, and I can attest to the researchers around online violence against women, online violence against women journalists and civil society, and now the drive towards psychological needs and even legal needs. The holistic approach to protecting journalists in the workplace is related to what their human resource policies are. How well are they dealing with what is in the labor laws? For example, discrimination, sexual harassment, growth in career, entry into career. You know, how many of us need to know someone to get somewhere? And how does that affect the media house? So ideally, we have very good efforts with the standard, with her standard network, which ideally looks at career growth of women and men. It also looks at discrimination. It has a dispute reporting mechanism where women can talk about any injustices in the workplace, and that way it self-corrects. Outside the media house, where do women journalists and activists go? there must be other centers where women can go for psychological help, mental help, and also legal help related to issues that affect them at work, inclusive of sexual harassment, inclusive of workplace bullying, which is not just to women, but both ways. So I think efforts are there, and I can attest with Article 19 and several other consortiums, and even Media Council. I think KUJ too are looking at how we provide these services for journalists and civil society actors in and outside the workplace. A sick human being, mentally, physically, or emotionally, will basically not tell a good story. So I think we can say we are moving towards that direction. Whether we correct internally in the media houses or outside is the question that we are dealing with now.
Thank you so much. And picking comments from our online platform, we have Manyata Youth Entertainment CBO. Building on community media and online TVs is key in building voices for grassroots communities. We must push mainstream media to be truthful. We have Valian who's saying theoretically you're very right, but practically very, very poor. I don't know what that means. MC V Slim says the media in Kenya is controlled and pathetic and politics all the time. It's high time the media fraternity change their strategies in order to bring positive content which will impact the masses. Eba says, following the conversation live from Manika Hub that is in Kwale County, or it's Mombasa County, Kaloleni, na tukizungumzia kuhusu station zetu za televisheni, kuna baadhi ya stesheni hazipendwi sana. Inakuwa ngumu ikiwa kipindi chako kiko miongoni mwa stesheni hizi. Don't know what that means. I think maybe they're talking about some stations that are not live. Let me come back to you guys, now to the audience. I'd like to get a few comments from you. I'd prefer comments so that then we're keeping time. I'm gonna start from the gentleman here. Jana sikumpea chance na akanihanda. So let me just give him the microphone now. Right here, up at the first lane here. So tell us your name, and in about a minute, less than a minute, please make a comment, preferably. Preferably.
All right, thank you. Hello, everyone. We have seen that it is very common nowadays. We have media houses have their journalists attempt to analyze news and break down their news in what they call unpacking the news for the viewers. And usually, they end up incorporating their own biases and their own personal views while unpacking the news. So my question would be, what is the justification for having these journalists unpacking news or analyzing the news and end up missing on objectivity? So how do we ensure that they remain objective as they unpack the news for the viewers? Thank you.
Koke, I'd like you to take that and note it down. You'll respond. Okay. Second, right here, Kwanza. We'll be skipping like this, like that. Okay.
I'm Faith Mutua. Mine is a comment rather. I'd like to urge youth out there that when we get the opportunity, when these media stations bring the politicians or the people in power or in the offices that we expect change, that we should really aspire to use that platform, especially the comment sections and the messaging to ask them to account, or to rather ask them to bring change, rather than using it in a negative way and then coming to the ground and crying about the same issues.
Okay, thank you so much. I'd like to come this side. There's that, actually, so we had one gentleman, one lady, so let's go to, I'll give the lady in the middle. Actually, no, the lady right here, the first one. Jana, I gave you an opportunity, I remember you very well, so let me give her, and then we go up Ale Nyuma.
Okay, thank you. My name is Grace Okello. So I have a comment, especially when it comes to independence of the media stations. I would give an example of Citizen TV. The owner, SK Masharia, has clearly shown who he is supporting.
So we cannot really say that it's independent because when the boss says you have to sell this narrative, you obviously have to sell that narrative. And then also, you find that some of these politicians also have shares and stakes in these media houses. So you might find that they do not really get to be that independent. And then there was a question that was asked before in terms of how the media houses get to protect their journalists from threats, especially from the politicians. Because we saw what happened last time on Twitter with one of the journalists from Citizen TV. So we would like to know, like, how do they protect their journalists from threats?
Eric, I need you to note that. You're going to respond to it, the two questions. Come this side. So here I'm going to give a gentleman. So we have 2 ladies of a gentleman. I'd already given you an opportunity. So that gentleman there with dreads, and then we'll come for the final round. So I've already, yeah. Right there. Keep it brief, and then, yeah.
Hello, yeah. I'm James Mureithi, na nilikuwaga nataka correct our friend there. Walisema that as sisi kama audience tunapenda politics, we love politics, but the difference ni ati wame speculate politics to some point that everybody is interested in it. We all have, kila mtu hapa hivi anapenda vitu different. But venye wame speculate, kila mtu wako kwa Jubilee, NASA and the rest. Some of us tunataka kusikia kenye na happen kwa streets. Kuna outreach zinaendaga na youths, but hiyo kitu yuko speculated uko hivyo kwa news. And so they don't, sio heroes wanaoneshango kwa nini kwa news.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. So we're going to start with Rachel because the last round, yeah. I needed to give you, like, there was a question here about the power of social media. How can people like us who may not have the tools and the ability to establish such big houses, media houses like Nation and the rest, how can you use the power?
I think if you ask me, social media is powerful, eh? And this is the thing also as comrades and young people as myself, we need to use it as an opportunity. And I'll give a good case study of what worked for us. All of you remember Justice for Sharon, yeah? So you remember Sharon Otieno? This is the thing that don't get into public. Justice for Sharon Otieno, it's we, the grassroots women, activists, we mobilize for it to have a national focus. We started, I remember I formed even the WhatsApp group at around 11 one day on a Tuesday when I was there at Imenti House. And one thing we did was that we ensure the comrades we have, if it's you, Koki, we have comrades in Mombasa, add them that they believe in the same agenda. And one of the things that we said, we are shunning away the narrative was one, this is the time also to start, we are ending femicide in Kenya. This is time we are saying that respectability politics, we are not going to do it, we are not going to tolerate. This is the time we are saying young women's body, especially the young women from university, their body should not be to be used as a collateral damage when high-profile politicians are assassinated, and then the whole blame goes to them. So the whole movement to be strong until when Akina Matiang'i came to talk, when the UN women came to pick it, it was through WhatsApp that made us to convene in different counties, Mombasa, Nakuru, that made that case become as strong as possible. So there's power in social media. But at the same time, one thing that we need to acknowledge also, and maybe Koki and also Eric, you can help, is how also do we filter propaganda through social media. And this one, I'll throw it to you. The other thing that I'll be able to say, I know you had Comrade Boniface Mwangi here in the morning. When we were doing the COVID fund drives, we were like, as activists, as feminists, as Coalition for Grassroots Human Rights Defender, we believe in people's dignity, and we're not going to post people. But one day when Boniface came in our community and realized, you people are doing this fantastic work, and you're not making it visible. He was like, as a comrade, this is my contribution. That's when Boniface took the picture of the work we're doing. He posted it on Twitter. Believe you me, together with some of my friends, didn't know what we were doing.
with the people in public, both locally and diaspora, we were able to source 544,000 Kenya shillings. Nanipata? Half a meter through social media. And more families were able to be supported with that fund. People were paid rent. People were paid, were bought beds because that time there was a lot of floods. People were bought food that sustained their family. So if you ask me, this power of social media. Then, the other thing I've seen also working with social media, even on our side and personally on my area, is the politics of the famous, all of you know me as Team Pussy Power, yeah? The radical USA Women Power. Yes. Pussy Power as a movement within Coalition for Grassroots Human Rights Defender has managed to have both visibility from Mathare up to different European countries in the world because of social media. Someone will see you, they're like, I saw my friend, they're in Uganda, can I get a t-shirt? Or what is it in about? That has made even now, having, which also is my worry now, having even high-profile politician claiming they're also a member of Pussy Power. And I'm like, anyway, it's good that you're talking, but do you really understand on Facebook? So for me, I'm trying to say there's power in mobilizing online, but also it goes to what do we share and what do we post. To be honest, as much as even Mwikali can slay and post, can you try sometimes even just say, when you see Kia Jakoma boys have been killed or we are seeing violence happening and just say justice. Can you please share? Because also it helps in sharing the risk. It helps in sharing the risk. But the moment you say, I don't have the power, the moment we say we want good leadership, and we are not talking about democracy via social media, all of us have Facebook, or have WhatsApp group for families, we need to start to a little, even WhatsApp family group to talk about democracy. We know we're in a country where we're in a WhatsApp group and our family dictate who you vote, who we don't vote. Can we start talking from that WhatsApp group? The power of social media is very powerful. I've seen it doing wonders for me on my level, even to reach where I am, as much as I'm not a social media group, but I've seen it working for me. Or when also we need cases, someone to handle, we go online and ask, can I have a pro bono lawyer? And someone comes through. So let's not ignore that. And I'm happy Eric committed that he'll bring some journalists, because also I would really maybe all of us to get to hear also from their perspective. We tell them maybe, for example, the reason why maybe I feel coming is because I don't have a suit. And then maybe we'll tell you it's not a must you have a suit. Because there is not usually those conversations, but it has to start also from where we start framing from our social media.
Okay, Koki.
Actually, to support Mwikali, the movement that is coming in and maybe legacy media should watch is what they're calling small and medium house, small and medium enterprise media houses. A lot of media viability efforts are going towards making those media spaces, one of them be financially independent. The second is for them to be able to look for resources beyond funding and advertising. And the third is for them to tell the quality stories that the young gentleman says he wants to hear from Korogosho. Because what is a story that is based in, like you say, lives matter, have to do with what is happening in Korogosho. I want to know mtaani tunafanya nini? Kuna nini inaendelea? So that's one thing that in the next 5 years will be one space to turn over what is happening in terms of control of the narrative. The second thing is, like she says, podcasts are coming up. Podcasts are people who will individually take the airwaves to be able to articulate their stories. And you can see that these stories basically are moving. I don't need to re-emphasize TikTok. My student was doing a study, and one of the things you can see, it's a very powerful tool to tell stories. But what is going to happen is that somebody else will move from entertainment to giving that conscious poetry. You talked about the musician here, isn't it? Some of you think some of us don't know reggae, but we were singing here. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery, literally. And that requires that you have a voice, and that it requires that you take the spaces that you are used to. If you tell me to post something on TikTok, I won't lie. I don't even know where to start. But you know, if you tell me to post something on Instagram, some of us are still on Facebook. That's where we are. And studies show that the older generation remained in Facebook. So if 75% of the Kenyan population is youth, that is between the age of 60, is it 13? When does youth begin? 13 to 35 is 75%. What stops you from spreading a narrative that I'll have no clue about because I'm not in those spaces? So I think it all starts with you. I know you are saying that we are burdening you, but for us, we had our own liberation rights. Some of us grew up in that era where there was so much oppression. Many of our age group grew in that era where there were just no jobs for free. And now you are worse off. So it's not about just saying, okay, we are passing the burden. The truth of the matter is most of us are dying out, just like Eric said. It's not just politicians. Even us who are in these positions, we are looking forward to you to come in and bring that sense in mind. To go to the question about journalists and opinions, one of the genres that exist in media is an opinion piece. What happens in an opinion piece? You find that somebody takes two sides of an argument and presents it. So sometimes you might think that this person is presenting their view, but this is, and Eric can attest, this is something well choreographed, okay? Because you give the one side of the argument, just like the way tulikuwa tukifanya debate. Sijui kama nyinyi mlikuwa nasema nataka utembee, my Kiswahili is not good, aste uniunge kwa kusema. So that's what that genre does. That genre basically says that, okay, we'll give one side of the story and we'll give another side of the story. And at the end of the day, we will tell you what to think, not what to think about.
I want, first of all, to comment on the issue of the power of social media. Yes, social media is powerful, but let people don't lie to you that you run away from the mainstream or the legacy media to go and balkanize yourself in the social media when the conversation is going on in the legacy media. I have to caution you. Like I said, withdrawing does not help. Please participate where people are talking. So let nobody tell you that you as the youth run away so that you can be having the conversation on social media when the conversation is going on in the legacy media repeat. Have you done the study and look at the social media penetration in Kenya? 30%. What is the internet penetration in Kenya? We are still at 40%. My mother in the village has a phone, but she cannot enter social media. Where is she going to get the news from? How is she going to engage? So that means that her main source of information is radio. Very early in the morning, she will switch on Ramogi FM to listen to what is going on. So what I'm trying to say is let us, first of all, let me ask you a question. Which is the most popular social media that is used in Kenya in terms of numbers? That's not true. Twitter. That's not true. Twitter. That's not true. The most popular social media network in Kenya is YouTube. That has got the majority of viewers. So you know, when you're also talking about social media, you must also have all these statistics and data right. If you go to YouTube, you'll see that majority of Kenyans, that's where they are going. So that means that if you want to engage, go to YouTube. So this is some of the basic information that we're supposed to have. Of course, Twitter, if you want to reach the international community, we go to Twitter. So those are some of the things that we must be talking about as the people who want to use these platforms. There's somebody who said something that Odongo read here, and that is something that we must embrace. That is community media. And even Rachel had talked about it, about the impact Gateway FM is creating. Let us engage in those spaces so that we also give you this, the power of taking charge of your destiny at your local level where you operate from, so that you can change lives. So that is the conversation later. So let's use all. If you can use social media, use social media. If you can use Community radio, please use it. If you can access newspaper, write opinions, send them to newspapers. If you can access TV, use all this so that you do not segregate yourself to social media when the conversation is going elsewhere. So make sure that you follow the conversation where it is. So having said that, there was a question about the protection of journalists. Of course, that we take very seriously. And we have got different mechanisms that we use to ensure that journalists are safe wherever they are working. And in the event that there is a danger, we see how we can help that journalist. We helped so many of them. And we do not take it lightly when a journalist is threatened. You are talking about the case of Babu Owino versus Mariah Karaoke. That's something that we took very seriously. And as we approach elections, we've had discussions with IBC, and I did say that we are looking at a way whereby anybody who threatens journalists or uses violence against journalists, that person should be barred from participating in election. It's something that we even had with the Director of Public Prosecutions, Haji, and he agreed that such cases, when they're taken to them, they'll be taken very seriously, and such will be taken as someone who has violated electoral code of conduct. Lastly, the issue about independence of the media. Yes, media is independent, but we can just ask ourselves, to what extent is media independent? Of course, journalists do vote, isn't it? Even me, I vote, I'm a journalist. I voted. SK Masharia, whom has been mentioned here, he votes. But what we do, and the discussion we've had in the media, is your personal life or your personal interests should not interfere with professional requirements of you as a journalist. So it means when you are working as a journalist, you are supposed to remain as professional as possible. And we have a code of conduct for practice of journalism, which we adhere to. So anybody who goes against that code of conduct, there is obviously action that is taken. So even as I vote as Eric, because I voted in 2007, I voted in 2013, I voted in 2017, even next year I'll vote. But when I'm making decisions to go and vote, that is not supposed to interfere with my work as a professional. So that is a code of conduct that we passed, and all of us adhere, that as much as you are a voter also, you are also a Kenyan, and you've got a right to vote, but that right to vote or to make a political choice should not interfere with your work as a professional, should not force you to violate the code of conduct for practice of journalism that we use as a guide, or we use as a Bible to guide our work.
Danish, I wanted to just add something, and especially to us youthful population. Please, please, for those who don't have ID, please go and take your ID. For those who don't have a voting card, go and take a voting card. If you are really tired of the bad leadership, we need to vote the people that you're not happy with their leadership styles. We need to vote them. We should not shy away from waking up at 4, going to vote, no matter what. Please, 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 please. Let's do that. Tunalewana? Tunalewana? Tafadhali chukueni kura. Let me use Swahili. Chukueni kura. Inaumiza saa hata mtaani. Unaona kuna bado still wanaume mtaani wako in control na M-Pesa za bibi zao. Wamekazia bibi zao kuchukua ID. And then mchukue ID. Secondly, one thing I wanted to stress is we have heard also from the other panelists and myself, one thing maybe, even if it's not so much of this conversation, please, please, let's learn also to write our own stories. Please, nobody will write your own story. Let's do that. I've seen the power of that when we did the resilience story of women who were fighting COVID-19 and spreading messages of solidarity in their local community and responding through writing. Let's learn that. Let's utilize the comrades who have that experience. Tell them, I've written, Kizungu megonga ukuta, nirekebishie, ama check for me. I even do that. Tunelewana? Please, let's learn to do that. Nobody will do that. And if you wait, we'll be in the same space we are complaining. Let's do that. And the women in the room, the girls in the room, take up the space. Fight for that space. The youth in the room, fight for that space. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Koki, your final comment?
Eric, thank you for bringing our attention to the fact that YouTube is the most,
It's actually, I've checked Statista. It's actually Facebook, then YouTube is number 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but YouTube is creative content generated, and therefore it means that it still goes back to me creating content and me selling it and me participating. Because in today's world, that is the space where you can basically participate. So just to conclude, I think we are concluding, right? Yeah. Just to conclude, the power of voice is very key for everybody in society. Because if you're able to voice your concern, whichever channel you choose, then you contribute to democracy. Democracy is who gets what when. Just go back to your house unit. See who gets the most, who asks the parents for the most, who is given the most. Why do you think they have that privilege? Because they are the ones who articulate what they need and they follow up with what they need. So I think this forum is very, very fruitful, and the youth here have been benefited because we don't want to use big words. I remember when we were in high school, it was democracia and those things, and then it moved to democratic space. What are these? It's simply asking for that road in your neighborhood. It's simply asking your MCA what's happening to the water. It's simply asking for medicine in your dispensary, because the Constitution is very clear. We are in a devolved state. Things should be asked for because the Constitution's sovereignty is with the people. Thank you.
Thank you. SG?
Okay, thank you. I'll just urge, like I said, if I look at the people in this hall, are young people. Let us not give up. This is our country. And all these problems that you are seeing in the government, they will be transferred to us. Like I said, in another 5 years, 90% of these people who are in power will not be there. But for us, we will be there. So the time is still on our side. Let us rise up, but do what is legal, what is within the law. And like Rachel has said, what can help us is make sure that every youth, you have a voting card, or right now you just registered a voter. Make sure you register as a voter if you are 18 years and above. And use that power correctly. Don't use that power because so-and-so comes from your tribe, or because so-and-so has given you some handout. Akikupatia pesa chukue kwa mfuko. That is, hiyo ni pesa yetu waliiba, wanakurudishia. Take it, put it in your pocket, use it, but when it comes to voting, make the right decision. Look at someone who is making sense, not someone who is influencing you to give them power. Then again, they'll disappear and come back in 2027. If we don't make that right decision, we are hoodwinked into making decisions for the purposes of benefiting the politicians. We will continue complaining. Koki said something here, and I think I must also revisit that. That if you are already 30 years or 29 years and you've not gotten a job, when are you going to work? Exactly, because that's usually called, that is your productive life. That is productive age. That between 25 up to 35, that is the productive age. At 40, you'll start planning how you're going to retire. But now if you are at 30, hujapata kazi. That means already by 30, you're supposed to be planning your retirement, because that is your prime. Na hujaanza kupata kazi. Utapata kazi at 35, because right now, if you look at the job market, what I can tell you, not so many people are working until retirement age. Sikizi ukishafika 40 hapo, wanaona magoti imeanza kuchoka, retrenchment. They go and get someone fresh from the university. So those are some of the issues we want to engage our leaders to tell us. Why are we having very high unemployment rate in this country? That at 29, bado hujapata kazi. Yet some of these guys, if you look at their lifestyle, By 25 walikuwa na kazi wameanza kufanya. So by at 35, when you say that now when the bracket, youth bracket ends, already these guys have left work, they're already in their family businesses. So those are the kind of conversations tuanze kujiuliza. When we're having all these conversations, what is it in for me as an individual? So that will be my parting shot.
Thank you so much to my able panelists. Just my final comment. Statista says that Facebook leads at 85%, YouTube 73%, Instagram 63%, Twitter 61%, TikTok 26%, Snapchat 19%, blog 16%, then others are 9%. There's a body under the Media Council of Kenya called the Complaints Commission. Recently, when People Daily did a story that we found a bit in bad taste, we went and filed a complaint. You just write an email to a number of you. And as we speak last week, in partnership with Basic Needs Kenya and Media Council of Kenya, the journalists at People Daily were trained free of charge on how to report on matters mental health. So are there things you're passionate about? Because if you're not organized, say as grassroots women, and then there's a reporting and a framing you don't like, just write an email to that complaints commission and you will get, I mean, there'll be action taken. Of course, we don't like punitive action, so as we went for that. Secondly, there are a lot of free media courses out here, whether it's local organizations or whether it's international organizations. There's nothing wrong with you as a young person, building your capacity. And last but not least, this is the way media works. You can't force the media to work the way you want. Media works in a particular type of way. They say that if it bleeds, it leads. And they say that news, when a dog bites a human being, that's not news. When a human being bites a dog, that's news. So whatever it is you're doing in your community, find a human being version biting a dog so that then the media will come and cover it. Because then it must be interesting, it must be something that will make news. If it's not, nobody will cover it. And then we continue complaining and saying, media does not cover our stories. Last but not least, see these people as allies. See them as allies. The experience Eric has, the experience Koki has. Koki actually has about 25 years experience in this. Eric has quite a bit of experience in this sector. So whenever you find them, sit down with them and listen to them. Ask them questions. How do I do this? How do I navigate this? That way then, we can take advantage of the wealth of knowledge they've accumulated. We can disagree, but we need to find ways to build comradeship and to build allies rather than see people always as enemies, even though we don't agree with them. With those many of you remarks that I've come back for some comment section here, but it's not possible because our time is spent, and I'd like to call it quits. Help me put a proper round of applause for such an amazing panel for the work they've done.
Danish.
Yeah. No.
Maybe before, no, I'm not commenting, but I think before maybe we leave as panel because we have spoken a lot. Maybe it's also to hear commitment of responsibility from some of them. Maybe it will go the other round from some of the audience. Because yes, it's our right to fight for good democracy, but it's also our responsibility to claim it.
Sawa. What we will do, we're going to have like a fireplace or a side chat pale nje. I'm gonna request the panelists once we are done that they can be out there. Then we can continue with this conversation. Because of time, we cannot continue. A round of applause for the audience for such an amazing time and for the questions. And thank you so much to Forum C for putting this together. Wajibu wetu program, Siasa Place and Power 254, Makofiko and Spillworks. Yeah, thank you.
Check.
Sawa.
All right. All right, round of applause to the gentlemen. As a norm on this platform, the panelists plus the moderator have to stand here for a photo in a very unique way. Okay. What amazing conversation, the role of media in democracy. Unavaa barakoa, COVID is real. Comrade power, comrade power, comrade power. Thank you so much. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Tuwapigie makofi tena na tena na tena. What an insightful session. Ladies and gentlemen, as we're heading to the climax of this day today, allow me now welcome on stage an artist breaking the monotony. Tumeongea sana, tumesikiza sana. It's high time we appreciate art. There is one beautiful poet. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. She comes on stage. We welcome Spontaneous. Mpigieni makofi tafadhali. Nimesikia age. Wapi makofi ya Spontaneous. Keep on clapping. That's the role of gentlemen. Keep on clapping, please. If you know you're a gentleman, keep on clap. If you know you're a lady, also keep on clapping. Gender equality. Keep on clapping. Spontaneous. Just to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, we're on Democracy Week. Our hashtag is defending democracy. I can see people online are still commenting and following. Hey, watu huko online wako sawa, wanaskuba kabisa hapa. I can read few of the tweets. Hatujaingia kwenye Twitter. Yes, there's a tweet here by one Mabeya saying new creation and media is a powerful tool in shaping our politics as a nation. Asante sana, a very strong, all right, a very strong comment. And then here we have a tweet by Okanda as Eugene saying youth carry the capacity to shift the conversations and the narrative of the political landscape of Kenya. Your vote is your voice. Your vote is your voice. What a tweet. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. Spontaneous. Makofi kwa Spontaneous tafadhali. Pigeni makofi. Stage manager. Yeah, you can pick on this microphone. Do you need a stand? Yeah. Oh, hallelujah. I knew. Mimi nimekuwa mshairi pia siku hizi. Ninajua maneno. Stage manager unaniangusha. Mpigieni makofi stage manager. Atakuwekea hiyo maneno sanitizer. Spontaneous. Spontaneous. What is your real name, Spontaneous? Spontaneous the poet. Use the microphone, please. Use the microphone. Now we are good to go.
Yes.
Yes. What is your real name, Spontaneous?
Rachel Stephanie Aki.
Where are you from?
Nairobi, Ochani, Rongo. Na Msambweni pia. Yes, yes. Yes.
So what are you going to perform for us this afternoon?
So I've been thinking, because we were having conversations around COVID-19 and the impact as well on democracy in the morning. I thought I could do a recap on this theme.
All right.
I actually appreciate what the panel was also talking about when it comes to media and the role of the digital space to democracy. Yes, but I feel like it's very important to talk about the impact of COVID during this period for democracy.
Are you a victim of COVID-19?
You know, we are all victims. Indirectly, directly. We've lost people. We've had to take care of people who have financial constraints. And sometimes it really gets overwhelming, you know?
All right.
Yes.
I should not waste you. Please put that in the piece.
Thank
and
you
present
so much.
for us. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Spontaneous.
Yeah, so I was just waiting on the sound instrumental, maybe.
DJ.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing? standing on this stage and feeling the weight of the ground because you have to speak to intellectuals like you is humbling. Sometimes it's scary because you're not sure if your words will drop enough or will speak for the rest. But today, I feel like if we are defending democracy, then we should speak the voice of democracy. And here goes nothing. Hello, my name is Democracy, and where I come from, people come first. You see, my home is for the people, by the people, of the people. So where I come from, we are all equals on that paper. And so if Javan moves a bit closer and probably checks my DNA and digs deeper into my roots, you will realize that I dwell heavily on citizen participation and preach highly of social accountability and speak towards transparency. Because where I come from, people come first. The Bill of Rights mentions that we come first. And so even when the pictorial evidences are splashed on this internet, my people, you will see me raise my fist and speak against abuse of power, my people. You will see me stamp my feet on the stage and scream against human rights violations, my people. Because where we come from, people come first. Hey, yeah. Viva! Hey, yeah. Viva! Hey, yeah. Viva! 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 But not in this world. Not in this world. I say not in this world, my people. Hi, my name is Democracy, and I have been adopted by so many countries, but I will not talk about that. No, I will talk about the adaptation from my own parents who believe that my presence is able to camouflage their filth and unworthy tracks that they hold. And so that's why I am sitting in front of everyone here today, arms folded, because I do not fit in this equation. You see, in this world that I have been adopted in, true, people come first. But I think that the definition of people has changed. You see, here, people mean the majority excluding the minority. People mean the paper makers and not the paper chasers. People mean the pace setters, not the pace trailers. People here mean those who hold power and not those who give it. People here do not come first. And I guess that's why I am standing here stone cold speaking to you, because people do not come first. I can't find myself. I can't find myself in this bipartisan authoritarian grounds. I can't find myself. My feet wiggle at the smell of their shoes. I can't find myself. So I, well, abide by what movement restrictions, what social distancing, while they flaunt it. And then someone had the audacity to tell us, we can't quite take control of the leaders who do not abide by the COVID-19 protocols. You guys remember? We will not forget. We will not forget. I can't find myself. My knees pop at the release of their carbon dioxide. I can't find myself when they talk about mediated technology for learning. Do they think about the children at the grassroots? I mean, what is electricity at the grassroots? What is technology at the grassroots? I'll tell you what that is. Over 1 million children are currently out of school, and yet we think about mediated technology learning. I can't. Can you find yourself? Can you find yourself? Can you find yourself? Because I can't find myself in this bipartisan, authoritarian grounds. I can't find myself in this bipartisan, authoritarian grounds. Someone back there mentioned it's not their mistake that they do not have jobs at the age of 30 to 35 currently. Well, it's true. We already have over 1.7 million plus people jobless right now. And yes, we have homeless people right now living in distress, but guess what? The COVID-19 billionaires still exist, yo. I can't find myself. We have monies that have been put forth to power the healthcare system, but point of correction, they power the system. There's a certain report. I don't know if any of you read it. So 1.3 billion was put forward to take care of the COVID-19 issues. But wait for it. The comedy here is 42 million was used for ambulances. Guys, 1.3 billion and then 42 million for ambulances. And then 4 million, wait for it, 40. Well, 1,000 of us are still starving and living in hunger in this country. And then if this is not even funny anymore, 2 million for communication. Man, 2 million is enough to get us 1/8 of land somewhere just to rest our shoulders, you know? It is enough to give us food somewhere. It is enough to take care of our health somewhere. But it was used for communication. I can't find myself in this bipartisan, authoritarian grounds. People don't come first. And democracy does not exist. But I am cool on paper. I am so cool on paper.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause before you step out of stage. Grab that microphone. Ask your neighbor if they can find themselves.
Can you find yourself?
Ask your neighbor, can you find yourself?
Can you find yourself?
You are on WhatsApp and Instagram doing double tap. While how many millions?
How many?
How many millions?
How many what?
How many millions?
Man, I have no words. 1.3 billion to take care of COVID-19, and then 42 million for ambulances, and then 4 million for tea, and 2 million for communication.
I'm sweating.
I can't find myself. And some of us here don't even know where we're going to get our next meal. Some of us here have lost our people at the hospitals because they couldn't afford bills to take care of those with COVID-19.
I am burning inside. And the fuel has been hiked.
I can't find myself.
It's painful.
It is. It is.
What inspired you to write this piece, my dear one?
You know, we talk about democracy. We are lucky enough to be in these forums and talk about democracy. But how many of us are really defending democracy? How many of us really understand what democracy is?
How many of us are defending democracy? Raise your hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are not serious.
You know? And I'm just so glad that we are all here defending it, because it needs your voice, it needs my voice, it needs our voice.
Have you recorded this piece?
Not yet. I haven't recorded it.
Mulizeni, what are you waiting for?
Nangoja fans.
Ata nangoja nini?
Fans.
Do you know how many people this piece can touch and ignite the fire in them? They start moving, asking very difficult questions to these people with impunity.
Help me, guys. Help me get the funds to record. Help me. And let's do it together. I don't want to do this piece alone. I want to do it with so many of you who are here.
Oh my!
Yeah.
We have partners under this amazing program led by Forum Sieve. And I know the leaders are here. Creative Spills. There are those who are here, those following online. Power 254. Siasa Place. This piece should be trending.
Thank you.
Tell your neighbor, amen. It is possible.
Amen.
This piece is touching. It is a blow under the belt.
Thank you.
If you don't have a heart, you cannot feel this piece. But I followed the words, my friend. I feel like burning right now.
Thank you.
I wish they bring number 1, number 2 here now. I show you what I can do.
Thank you.
We can change the narrative. Tell your neighbor, yes, we can change this country.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
How do you feel being a lady in the space of poetry?
One, I'm thankful for everyone who believes in the words. I find my energy through you. I am not doing this for myself. I'm just thankful that I can use this voice, and you guys believe in me enough to listen and to sit on your chairs and to cheer me on. And that means a lot, because I am not doing art for the sake of it. I am doing art to speak for the people who are not in a position to say these things that we need to have said. And I am just thankful that you gave me the chance to represent also the women as well. I know we tuko chache kwa industry, but I'm thankful that you guys are supporting us enough to have us here.
Wow. Yeah. Do you have a role model?
Yes, I do.
Who is your role model?
This is funny. God is my role model.
Oh, a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
And then maybe Janet IKZ. But from home, I have role models from home. I have William, I have Shiki, I have Mufasa, I have Akina Drops. Like, the whole poetry community just inspires and motivates me to keep doing what I'm doing. And you guys, you are my role models as well.
Election is around the corner.
Yes.
Do you think as young people we can change the narrative and have a government that will be responsive?
I believe that as the youth we can change the narrative. I believe that hopelessness is not something we should believe exists and allow it to flourish. I believe we can change the system because we are many. We are many and we know what we want. Do you know how hurtful it is to get to 35 and then there was that comment that really ilinitouch. I don't know kama iliwatouch wase. Kuna mtu nyumangu alisema it's not his fault that he cannot get the job. He's looking for it. But we can change that narrative. I mean, we can't keep being the people who tunawalo in sorrow. We can now take up the mantle and be the ones who speak and implement the change.
We should stop agonizing and start doing what? Organizing.
Exactly.
You're already organizing.
Yes.
That piece is brilliant.
Thank you.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
There is hope in activism. The only space where you can say whatever you want to and get away with it is the power that will change this nation. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause to Spontaneous. Pigeni makofi.
Thank you.
Pigeni makofi tafadhali. Thank you so much. May God bless you.
You too.
God bless you. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, this Democracy Week, as we promised, we are accelerating. We are at gear number 3. Ladies and gentlemen, just remind us that we are here for the whole week. We were here on Monday. We were here yesterday on Tuesday. Today is a Wednesday. We are here again tomorrow on Thursday. And we'll be here again on Friday, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be fire. Tell your neighbor, fire. And just to remind you that we'll be having quiz, competition. Come with your groups. It's all about democracy and Democracy Week, defending democracy. We'll have an active competition here. And the winners will be awarded, courtesy of Forum C. Wapi makofi na nduru tafadhali. Or always, Forum C appreciates art as a tool for social change, social accountability. We are telling you the hashtag is defending democracy. Defending what? Comrades power. Comrades power. Just about now, ladies and gentlemen, before I introduce the band, tafadhali kweni karibu. We have an amazing piece here. Young people doing what they do best. Of course, art has a lot of genre. We have seen spoken word artists. We have seen live music performances. Now we have graffiti artists doing what they do. All in all is how you pass message to the communities. Inspire with what you can do. A skill at hand. You don't need anything else but local available resources. These guys are using paint and sketching, marking pens to send a message. We want to have a small conversation. I don't know if my media people, the light here is good for you to capture this. You can tell me if the light is good so that I can move. I want to have a conversation. Stage manager, please. I need some microphones down here. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here. I am your neighbor now. Please don't paint me. I know I look like a blackboard. Matter occupies space and has weight. I am matter. So don't mistake me for a billboard. So we want to have a small conversation. The stage manager, please, where are the other microphones? Those following online, this is hashtag defending democracy. I need 2 microphones. Please down here so we can have a conversation on what these guys are painting here, what they mean by these sketches, why these colors. Why choice of the colors? Where they start this from? Is it kindergarten? Ama ni elimu ya ngumbaro? Stage manager, I need the microphones, please. The stage manager is fired. Thank you for the lighting. Hey, ilikuwa sionekani, sasa inaonekana. Can someone assist with the microphones, please? So I request we can grab the microphones over there and have a small conversation before we conclude the drawing, you know. All right, all right, all right. Thank you. Where's the stage manager? Thank you, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, strength of a woman is here. That those who say a painting ni kazi ya wanaume. Just introduce yourself. What's your name and where do you come from? County 047 or outside? Be free.
My name is Chala. Natoka Nairobi. Yeah.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
So, what do you do?
I'm an all-rounded artist, graffiti, illustration. Recently, I get into virtual reality.
Ah,
yeah.
Nice. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Let us feel the energy. Okay, now there's a piece here you're doing. Huh? You know, my brother, just come closer. Usiogope wanawake, najua uko over-empowered, boy child. Unajificha. Just grab the microphone here. You want to have a very short, amazing conversation. There's another microphone there. You can grab your microphone. Feel free. No problem. Hizi ni mali zetu. Yes, there's a microphone there. Thank you. Thank you. So now as we proceed, what are you doing here today?
We are doing a piece on democracy, so we chose to show two people.
You can
and
turn
then,
this way, have this because of camera.
and then there's like a die written yes or no. So it's like the choice is in your hand. You can cast the die and the voice is yours. So it's the two people, and they're like peace, and yeah, we have the die in our hands. Yeah.
All right, all right. I see a ballot box here.
Not a ballot box. It's like the dice for like the game, but instead of the numbers, it has yes and no.
All right.
Yes.
So the two fingers apart
Like
symbolizes
peace.
Peace.
Yes.
So, okay. And I can see wording here.
That is just like democracy week, because that's what is happening this week. Yeah.
Okay. And the yes, no, what does it mean?
The what?
Yes, no.
Oh, like you have the opinion to say yes or no to.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So whatever
you have
laws
the
and
right
you
to
have
say
the
yes
opinions.
or no.
Yes, you have the right to say yes or no.
All right. So now, in line with democracy, what kind of issues do you have a right to say or no?
So many issues.
Like
women empowerment, us getting jobs, taking our spaces, in like going to meetings and having our voices heard. Us also voting is us having like the democracy to choose our leaders. Yeah.
So one amazing question is, what inspired you to indulge into arts? You know, there's so many other things you could do. You know, why did you choose to do art?
Because growing up, art has been my way of expressing myself. It has been, for me, art is my freedom. And so me doing art every day is me living in my light. And yeah, I wish to do that until I'm old. So, yeah.
All right, so where do you see yourself? The industry, because it's a very strong industry, you know, in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, with the changing times, this has got me getting into VR. So that means my art will be in the blockchains forever. Like my art will reach many more people than just the audience sitting here and watching me paint. So there's like endless opportunities with technology to put my art into more spaces. Yeah.
So what you do, like you take photos or videos of your painting and post online?
Yeah, mostly photos, and I post online, Instagram mostly. Yeah, but now that I had...
What's your Instagram handle?
Chalwek.
Hey, listen to this very carefully. What's the Instagram handle?
Chalwek.
Okay.
CHELWEK.
All right, a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Tumpigie makofi. I know kuna wengine wamekaa hapo kuna wivu. You cannot even paint your nails. So appreciate art. All right, my brother, come closer. You have a microphone. Yes, you can stand here. What's your name and where do you come from?
My name is Ken.
Ama wewe ni mtu wa mkono?
Eh?
Ama wewe ni mtu wa mkono?
Mkono.
Wewe ni mtu wa mkono?
Si bado nachora nataka ni wa mkono.
Kibarua. Women are empowered mpaka wako na vibarua. Please introduce yourself, bro. Where you come from? On a lighter note. Yeah.
I'm Ken Mwanzia. I come from Nairobi na bado Mombasa pia.
Nairobi na Mombasa. Okay.
Nilizaliwa Mombasa. Nikalelewa Nairobi.
So where did you meet this brilliant lady?
We met with Chelwek nikiwa shule.
All right.
Lavington ya art. I had a session with her. Ilikuwa class yake ya mwisho. Ilikuwa class yake ya kwanza. Na mimi ilikuwa class yangu ya mwisho. So hapo ndo ikaanzia.
But you look younger than her. So you are finishing, you are starting.
I'm younger than her.
Okay. Uliruka?
Eh?
Uliruka?
Hapana.
It's interesting. So what inspired you to do art?
Basically, I think vitu wamesema ni the same tu zenye na go through. Art nimekuwa nikigrow now ever since nikiwa mtoto. So everyday life, art inajirepresent too.
Okay. And now a very tricky question. Are you ready? Why did you choose to work with an opposite sex? And not barobaro mwenzako. Why?
I like a style of art.
You like a style of art. All right.
Kitu ingine ni basically working with a lady si kitu ngumu.
Mwanaume ni kuongea, si ndio?
I think mostly yenye ilinibamba ni her style of art.
Okay.
Ili inspire na kanifundisha zingine pia.
So what is experience working with her?
Awesome.
Watu wanasema nini huko mtaa?
Awesome.
Yeah. Watu wanasema nini huko mtaa?
Nimegrow kwa art.
Umegrow kwa art
sana.
All right. Nice. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause. So, kwa wale akili zao ni mbaya, you can work with the person of the opposite sex on development issues. It's not all time ni maswala ya tumeelewana. Sika tumeelewana. Is the message home? Yes, when it means business. So, lastly, before I leave you guys to continue doing this piece, and of course, the cameraman should come here, we'll take a very good photo. No, boy, this is very important. So now, this kind of work looks very tiresome. Bro, kuinama, kuenuka, kuenda huko, hauoni shida?
Mi sina shida. Mi kama mwanaume ni ushazoea kazi kaa hizi.
Okay.
Kupanda ngazi, kushuka, kuanguka.
Kuanguka?
Kuendelea.
Okay.
So ni kitu tu nimezoea. And as in, kama napenda kitu unafanya, there's nothing like kuchoka. Ni kupambana tu.
You have the passion.
Yeah.
So now, last, do you see hope in art as a tool for pushing for democracy in this country?
Yes.
Why?
The message portrayed in the art in a impact kubwa sana kwa society.
All right.
With how people perceive it.
Ladies and gentlemen, sina maswali mengine upande wa mashtaka. Huyu bwana amepita kesi. Pigieni makofi tafadhali. What an amazing team. Please, you can come here, you get a very good photo. Closer here. This is a very important piece. And I know we'll give you an opportunity. Musione wivu jamani. We'll give you an opportunity for you to come take photos. Once this event is over, we'll give you an opportunity to take a photo also. Sawa. Let me wipe my... All right. Now I look beautiful. You can take the photos. Those following us online, ladies and gentlemen, our hashtag is defending democracy. As always, we are here until Friday, the climax. Thank you so much. Asanteni sana kwa kazi nzuri. Now, ladies and gentlemen, already niko kwenye drum set hapa. And I want to bring these guys on stage so that they can do us like two pieces before we say goodbye. The band guys, this is a problem having surface area to volume ratio. You cannot pass some other areas, becomes a problem. Ladies and gentlemen, where are the band guys? Band. As you're waiting for the band, there's one gentleman here. Amejidaisha hapo na peace ya democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for my friend who is a stranger.
Andraza.
Andraza, give us the peace, bro. The band, please, as Andraza is doing something here. The band, wherever you are, we request you come on stage.
Freedom and slavery are mental states. The bond of a slave is snapped the moment he considers himself a free being. But the only way we can attain our freedom is not through violence, because violence breeds violence generation after generation. But the way of peace ensures peace and stability. We reject it because we fancy that it involves submission to the ruler who has imposed himself on us. But the moment we realize that that imposition is only so-called, and that through our unwillingness to suffer loss of life or property, we are party to imposition. Did you know? It's only through democracy that you can question a leader in power. Did you know? It's only through democracy that you can get to elect the leader you desire to see in power. Did you know that the government is based on the consent of the governed? So what is this democracy? What is this democracy? It is a system of rule by law and not individual. It depends on people participation. It should be respectful of the law and tolerant to the lives of different groups and individuals. And in democracy, everyone has a right to have his own opinion and say whatever he thinks. Surely, the needs of people in this country and of the world are deep enough. The suffering and danger imposed by violence sharp enough. The cruelty and threats of tyranny cutting enough that the fullest possible research of investigation into the potentialities of nonviolent struggle should soon be launched. Nonviolent action is a way of the strong. And if we make it as such, then a brighter future is assured. The only reason why we reject it is because that we fancy that it involves submission to the ruler who has imposed himself on us. But the moment we realize that that imposition is only so-called, and that through our unwillingness to suffer loss of life or property, we are party to imposition. That's it, guys. My name is Andraza. You can follow me on all social media. I do thank you so much for the chance that you've given me.
A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Asante sana. Mpigieni makofi msanii. Bila shaka ana mistari iliyokwenda shule. Ladies and gentlemen, hapo tumefika. The band, please take it away. Take it away. We're gonna have some two pieces from the band and we call it a day. Ladies and gentlemen, I request that we sing with the band as we take a leave, of course. All right. Tomorrow tuko hapa kuanzia asubuhi saa 3:30. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be fire, more fire as you're going to the climax on Friday. Tell your neighbor to follow online. Tell your friend to carry a mask. Kuna wale hapa wamekuja na chupa. Tafadhali, ladies and gentlemen, let us leave this space as cleaner as possible. Yule amekuja na chupa yake ya maji, wakati unatoka tafadhali beba chupa yako ya maji, weka kwa dustbin. Kama umekula inaitwa nini ile? Beba mizigo yako. Let us be civilized Kenyans. This is how we push for democracy in this country. Start being responsible now. You just carry your own belongings. Wenda umekunywa maji chupani yako, ibebe. Shida iko wapi? Yes, usiache hapo kwenye kiti. All right. Libanda. Take it away. Take it away. Redemption songs. This marks the end of our concert today.
What's up? What's up?
All right.
I miss a run for the rat. Run for the rat, brother, push after you. Run for the rat. Run for the push, brother, dog after you. Tell me what you really wanna do now. What you gonna do? One more time. Run, brother rat, brother push after you. Run, brother rat. Run, brother push, brother dog after you. Tell me what you really wanna do now. What you gonna do?
Usiumie, simama tu.
The cat chased the mouse, while the dog raced the cat around the corner. The vultures are waiting to see the great slaughter, while they glow, sipping champagne, having of the best of wine.
Please rise
then
up,
you
rise
symbol
up.
to mess up your mind. Hey, what you gonna do now? Do now.
On top.
What you gonna do? One more time. What you gonna do now? Do now. What you gonna do? They always want to do to us the things that are wrong, but we forever be forever strong. What you gonna do now? Do now. What you gonna do? What you gonna do now? Do now. What you gonna do? What you gonna do now? Do now. What you gonna do?
Are you feeling alright? All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. What a wonderful performance. Tuendelee ama tusiendelee? Tuendelee ama tusiendelee? Tuendelee ama tusiendelee? How many say one more? How many say one more? No, two more. One more. How many say one more? How many say one more? All right. One more. We go. Stand now. Stand. No. Wait. Under one condition. You all rise up. Amsha jirani yako. You all rise up. We must hear the vibe, you know. Yeah, are you feeling alright? Comrades, power. Okay, we go.
Smile for me, Nairobi. See. Hey, I met a girl this morning. I met a girl this morning. She asked me where I'm from, I tell her are the tropics. She asked me what's my name, I tell her I'm Sophia. And I say, girl, tell me what's your name. She tell me that her name is Nairobi. And I said, smile, girl, smile. Smile for me, Nairobi. And I said, smile, girl, smile. Ooh, Lord, smile for me, Nairobi. Whenever you cry, you are mine. Yeah, I'm here for you, Nairobi. Almost I loud. Girl, smile. Smile for me, jump nigga. Yeah, she of a rich street, a beautiful woman with a business gifts, a beautiful sunrise for an evening kiss, of a nice sunset for the evening season. And every time she says she tired of the exploits and the liars, she give them reggae, give them bitches, give the flowers and the fuss, but all she got was abuse in return. And I say, don't you worry yourself, mama. Chronics is here for your help, mama. I say, no worry yourself, mama. One thing me I beg you do for me. I say, smile, girl, smile. Smile for me, Nairobi. And I say, smile, girl, smile. Ooh, Lord, smile for me, Nairobi. Whenever you cry, you are mine. Yeah, I'm here for you, Nairobi. Almost I loud. Girl, smile. Smile for me. Help me sing. And I said, smile. Girl, smile. Smile for me, Nairobi. And I said, smile. Girl, smile. Smile for me, Nairobi. Whenever you cry, you are mine. Yeah, I'm here for you, Nairobi. Almost I loud. Girl, smile. Smile for me. See, you give them body pona, give them. I one drop beat pona, rhythm. You give them bob na but a different step in. You give them but na but a different. But see you, a lot of give the same ideas. We give them love and some literature. Make the world win a better picture. Hey, don't you worry yourself, mama. Chronics is here for your help, mama. I say, no worry yourself, mama. One thing me I beg you do for me. I say, smile, girl, smile. Smile for me, Jamaica. And I say, smile, girl, smile. Smile for me, Jamaica.
Woo! Are you feeling alright? Alright. Alright, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, just about now, we have to close this session now. DJ, national anthem. These people want me to faint, they're not good. You know, some of you are slim, but me, I'm 10 GB. So more dancing for me is normal. I will faint and none of you can carry me here, you know? So I don't want to die soon. Fever! DJ, give me a national anthem. We close this session. We meet tomorrow. Wimbo wa taifa tafadhali tuweze kufunga. Tukutane kesho. For those online, we love you. It's fire here at the Kenya National Theatre, County 047. We love you. And I've been your host, MC001, MC Songora. DJ, wimbo wa taifa. Fever! Comrades power! Forward democracy forward! Asante sana. DJ, wimbo wa taifa. National anthem, DJ. You people, I love you. You are amazing. Tell your neighbor. All right.
Baraka kwetu, na mizi, na tukae na udugu, amani na uhuru, raha tupate na ustawi.
Afrika Mashariki.
Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
All right, nipigeni makofi, round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Till we meet tomorrow, same time, same space. The Kenya National Theatre, County 047, County ya Nairobi, capital city of Kenya. Asante sana. We love you. I've been your host, MC001, MC Songora. Tukutane kesho.